Hello everyone. So can you comment in the chat box if my audio is coming on? Okay. Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Arnav Goswami, and I am the host for today's session. So uh, yeah. Today's session is about how to land a job in Walmart. So before we dive into this session, let me tell about a bit about Alma Better. So Alma Better is a student-first tech platform, and we are relentlessly work towards a better tomorrow for our students. In today's masterclass, you will understand the following things: how to gain insight into the skills and qualifications required to succeed as a data scientist at Walmart, learn effective strategies to craft a compelling resume and optimize your online presence, discover key interview techniques, and how to showcase your technical skills and problem-solving abilities. So yeah, so today's masterclass will be an interesting masterclass because the instructor himself is a data science consultant on Walmart, and it will be interesting masterclass. So now I hand over the session to Sayandeep. Over to you, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, team, and very good morning to all of you joining in. I hope I'm audible loud and clear to all of you. Wonderful to have all of you on a Saturday morning for this very interesting session, and I'm sure this is something that everybody looks forward to. Apart from your interest in data science, apart from learning data science, this is one of the things that is right at the top of everybody's head, that what type of questions are asked at top product companies like Walmart. What do companies like Walmart look for, and other similar product companies look for? What types of questions are asked, and what are the skills that are actually required? And then so this is pretty much what the whole agenda of the session will be. I'll come to the specifics in a minute. And once again, welcome all of you to the session. Myself, Mr. Shayan here, and I have been in the industry for uh, almost 13 years now. I presently do consulting for Walmart, and I also am a visiting faculty for several of India's premier universities, uh, including Triple IT Bangalore, uh, I am Bangalore. I take a few guest lectures, IT Madras, to name a few. I do mostly these sessions I do on weekends for postgraduate programs, executive programs, where experienced professionals they join these programs to upskill themselves on AI and machine learning. So something that I'm very passionate about doing. This, in fact, I also have a very strong association with Alma Better, where I sometimes they also invite me to take one-off sessions like the ones that we are taking here, which is again very interesting and very exciting to share my knowledge as to what I've gained through my corporate experience. So once again, I welcome all of you to today's session. I'm looking forward to an extremely engaging session today overall. Okay, so just to come back to the specifics of what we will do and the specifics of the agenda of what we'll be covering, um, we'll start our discussion with a little bit of basic introduction to data science. I know to know more about what kind of questions are asked and what it takes to be a data scientist, let's understand what is data science. Before we understand about data science job, let's first take some 5-10 minutes to understand what data science is and the applications of data science across other industries. Not only Walmart in retail, but let's talk about how data science is used across different industries. And I will also encourage the audience to come up with lots of use cases and everything here. So come up with lots of use cases with respect to how you think and where you think data science actually comes in handy. So that's the other thing I will encourage all of you to do. Next, we will get into specifics of how Walmart uses data science. What are some of the data science use cases that Walmart uses? And then we slowly come to the career prospect, the kind of companies that are hiring in this field. What has been the industry trends over the past few years? Where are we headed? Uh, because there's a lot of talk around recession. So where are we headed? What kind of challenges are we facing? We'll also talk about certain job roles, specific data science job roles that are out there. So it's not just a plain vanilla blanket data scientist job that you can expect, but there are lots of specialist jobs that you can also expect in this whole track. Like for example, data engineers, data analysts, data visualization, business analysts, ML ops. So a lot of other niche and a lot of other segmented jobs are there compared to a generalist data scientist role. And then we will slowly come to different types of interviews that are basically conducted. So it's not just a plain vanilla technical interview that we come across where you're asked a series of questions and you answer those questions and you're evaluated based on that. But we will look at different types of interview questions and very interesting. We will look at some of those kinds of things as well as we go along. Okay. All right. So now, with that in mind, let's get going. Let's get started, and let's talk about data science. What is data science? In simple terms, data science is the okay. Just to end the thing. After that, after we are done with that, we will also have a very interesting Kahoot quiz where we'll try to test you on some of the things that we talked about in the session that we discussed in the session. So we'll have a very interesting Kahoot quiz as well. And from there, we will also be talking about the Alma Better program. So, what is the program and what kind of things do we bring to the program differently? So, all those things we will talk about. Okay, now moving on. What is data science? What do we mean by data science? So, data science is a multidisciplinary field, and it basically involves it's a set of tools and techniques. It's a set of tools, techniques, and framework that we define to extract information or insights from raw data. It's pretty much all what data science is all about. Okay. So I give you some raw, dirty data. There is some raw data. That raw data can be in any kind of file form. It can be in a CSV file, an Excel file, a SQL Server database, an Oracle database, some other database, some CSV file, some text file, some XML file, some JSON file. The source file can come from any system. So data science is the process of getting the data from that source system, getting that source file, applying a lot of different transformation techniques on that particular source file and extracting information or insights out of it. That is basically what data science is all about. Okay. So once again, data science is a process. It is a set of tools and framework that we use to take the raw dirty data. It is a set of tools and framework that we use to take the raw dirty data, process the raw dirty data, clean it, process it, apply different types of transformations on your raw dirty data, and eventually extract information or insights out of it. That is what data science is all about. Okay. So you take the raw dirty data and you clean it, you process it, you apply different types of transformations on it, and on the basis of that, you go back and you extract information or insights out of it. Okay. So that is effectively what we try to do in data science. And there's another term that gets used a lot interchangeably called analytics. Now, what is analytics? It's the same thing. I really wanted to reinforce this for the audience a little. Data science is not a new thing, right? So I know it's a big fad nowadays. It's a big hype. I think, to be honest, it's lost that hype. It was a huge hype even a few years back. Today, I think it's more established. There are more robust processes we have around it. But it was a huge hype even a few years back. Everybody was jumping onto data science. I know most of you in the audience, even today, you're actually looking to you know uh, uh, move your career towards data science, but it's not exactly new. But then it really caught people's imagination, captured people's imagination rather after that Harvard Business Review article, which dubbed data science as the sexiest job of the 21st century. That was how the article went. This was an HBR article, and and they basically classify data science to be the sexiest job of the 21st century. That is, you can actually read about it. This is basically the article that really captured people's imagination. And this was an article that was released back in 2012, October 2012. But I really wanted to kind of highlight this for the audience that data science is not a new thing. We have been doing analytics and data science for decades and even for centuries, right? It is basic elementary statistics has been around for a long, long time. Even simple things like averages, medians, standard deviations, understanding distributions of our data, probability theory, these things have been around for a long, long time in humanity. Okay. And as long as we are able to take some data and as long as we are able to make some information or some informed decisions out of it, even if that means creating a bar chart. I'm giving you a very simple example. Let's say we are talking about World War One going on, and in World War One, the planners or the decision makers want to do some kind of an estimate with respect to how much of raw materials are getting used. They want to plot a line chart to understand. Now, it's not that line chart was not there in 1910. Line charts have been around. We have had the concept of these things for a long, long time, right? Even plotting a simple line chart. Stock markets have been around for centuries. Not a new thing. Not that the stock market people were not trading in stocks in the year 1900s, right? So although uh, the way that people were trading in stocks were different, we didn't have electronic exchanges back then. We had tickers. If you know, there were tickers, and it was a bit of a manual trading that used to happen. But yes, you can still plot a bar chart. You can still take the data and you can still go back and you can still understand the patterns over the last few years, how the stock prices increase, and you can still do your projections. Okay, so these things have been there for a long, long time. So what has changed in the last uh, few decades has has been the methods that we implement for doing data science. And that is one of the first and foremost things I wanted to talk about because most people come to data science thinking it's something new, it's something amazing. But I wanted to let you know it's not something new. It's something that we have been doing for decades already. Just that we've given it a different term, and just that we have kind of given it a more formal framework. What was previously called analytics, data science sounds like a more cool term, as as per HBR, the article that I just now showed you, right? Of course, the mechanics and the techniques have also changed. All right, now there are a lot of different aspects in data science, and what I will do is I'll quickly take you through the broad life cycle of a typical data science process. What is the typical data science project involved in? So step one, what we do is we frame the problem statement. I know this sounds extremely cliche, but it is extremely important to frame the problem statement correctly. Then we collect our data. Again, it sounds like it's very obvious thing to do, but mind you, friends, this is an extremely important part in data science. So you define the problem statement, you frame the problem statement as to what you want to do. Then you collect your data. Then you figure out what type of source data you need to access to solve the problem. So first you frame the problem, then you collect your data, then you clean your data. Why do you need to clean your data? Because data is never in the proper format. So data in the original format is always raw and dirty in nature. So you have to clean your data. And then you will do exploratory data analysis to um, go ahead and perform EDA on your data. EDA on your data basically means you want to take your data and do some basic analysis using that. You want to create a chart, you want to create a scatter plot, understand the correlations, you want to understand your data a little better. And there are different techniques that we can use for doing EDA. Then we get into model building. This is the part where we build a prediction model. And then finally, we do model deployment. I will talk about these steps a little bit more in detail. So let me talk about this a bit more in detail as to what are the different things we are doing in data science again. I'll just open up a slightly broader slide for you. Okay, all of you can see the screen. So you can once again take a look at this one. We have data discovery. So the very first step is data discovery. Data discovery. So this is the part where we are framing the problem. If you look at the first two steps, data discovery and data ingestion, these two steps are basically involved with framing the problem. We are trying to figure out what is the problem we are trying to solve. and we are trying to figure out what kind of data we require to solve the problem. Now, again, friends, this sounds extremely cliched, I know, but this is an extremely important part of what we are trying to do in data science. Okay. Data science is a lot about understanding what is the end goal we are trying to reach. And to reach that end goal, what a type of data we need to solve that problem. Now, it is obvious, but then why is it important? Because A, there is a lot of business understanding you require. You need to have a lot of business know-how in terms of what type of data is required. And I'll come to some real use cases in a minute from now. And two, you need to also understand that whatever data you need, is that data even accessible? So if you're talking about a big company like Walmart, we face a lot of challenges in getting data. Oftentimes, as data scientists, let's say if I'm solving a problem at Walmart, we will say that, hey, we need some data from this, we need some data from here, we need some data from here. Oftentimes, we will frame the problem statement that way. Okay, we need some X data from here, we need some Y data from here, we need some Z data from here, right? But then, oftentimes, although we know the data exists, but sometimes the data may not be accessible due to privacy concerns or something. So, the business analytical mind will tell us, okay, to solve the problem, this data is required, but oftentimes what is required is not accessible. So, how do you assess key data sources, and how do you figure out whether the data source is even accessible or not? And then once it is accessible, how do you extract your data? How do you real time go back and extract your data? How do you go back and real time extract your data and make sure that you are able to get your data in one single place? Once you have done that, the next part is what we refer to as data cleaning a while back. Data cleaning is there are different jargons that we use for it. We call it data wrangling, we call it data pre-processing, data cleaning. There are different terms that we use for it. And this is the part where we take that raw, dirty data coming from different source systems, and we convert it into one unified, clean format. We try to clean our data in a proper way. And there are different things we do as part of data cleaning. Now, real world use cases could be, let's say when we are getting the raw, dirty data from some source system, it might be that some data is missing. Let's say you're taking some weather data from some weather website, weather channel or weather.com. You're taking some weather data, and let's say there are certain timestamps where the temperature reading is missing. Now, it could just be that on that particular timestamp, the sensor was faulty, something of that sort. The sensor was faulty on that particular timestamp, or the sensor readings were missing. So something of that sort was happening. So the data is missing on those specific timestamps. So you remove those missing values, you remove those outliers. Some data points are extremely high. So on one particular timestamp, the temperature readings reach, let's say, 130 degrees Celsius. That's not possible. Now, nowhere on earth you will have a temperature reading upwards of 130 degrees Celsius. Now, on one, that is just a faulty reading. So how do you make sure that those outliers are basically data points which are very different. Outliers are basically very different points, strange observations, outlier or something out of the ordinary. Okay. So most of the temperature values on Earth will be, let's say, around 25 to 35 degrees Celsius on an average. Okay. But some places are having extremely high temperature, like, for example, 140 degrees Celsius. That's not possible. So if you have these kinds of extreme outliers, which is not even possible, then how do you go back and handle those kinds of things? That is what I mean by raw, dirty data. So data coming from a source system will always have some kind of mistake, right? Because all of these are technical systems, right? Let's say weather.com is collecting data from some sensors. Let's say we are talking about healthcare data, patient level data, and you're measuring heart rate for the person. Let's say we're looking at the modern smart bands and smart watches we have. I have a Galaxy Watch 4, and let's say it is also measuring, something like a stress reading or a heartbeat reading, resting heart rate. Now there can be, now although I've got continuous measuring enabled on my device, but there can be one-off timestamps or one-off time intervals when the reading is not taken accurately. Okay, absolutely possible. There can be one-off intervals where the reading is not done accurately. Those things can also happen. So that is a good example of raw, dirty data. Where now the question is, how do you go and impute those missing observations? So if for a particular time interval my resting heart rate was not captured, or my blood pressure was not captured, or my blood uh, sorry, my stress levels were not captured correctly, how do I use regression or imputation techniques to go substitute that missing value? How can I accurately predict, okay, what could the person's heart rate be on that interval? It's very simple actually. Look at your heart rate, the previous interval, look at your heart rate, the next interval, and take an average of. This could be the most simplest way we can substitute the thing. But just wanted to give you some understanding that real world data will always be missing. Okay, so this step number three is often one of the most challenging steps for a data scientist. So this is the part where you're trying to get your data from different raw sources, and you're trying to clean the data, and you're trying to merge your data into one single unified source. Okay, so again, I repeat, you're trying to take your data from different raw source formats. You are trying to clean your data into one singular format, single raw source format, and you're trying to pre-process it. That's what we are trying to do here. And a lot of different operations are done, like renaming the column, summarizing the column. Oftentimes, the original data will have different column names. You want to rename those columns. Sometimes there might be some columns that are useless. Not all the columns will be required for the analysis. You want to drop certain of those columns. So all of these things are done in this. The third step is extremely crucial, actually. Okay. Uh, then we come to step number four, which is more on data exploration. So after you have cleaned your data, you want to explore the patterns in your data, what types of patterns we have. And we plot different types of plots here right now, scatter plots, bar chart charts, and all those kinds of things. And then from step number five onwards, we get into the model building, the predictive analytics side of things. Okay. So this is the machine learning side of things. Okay. Now, just to make things a little interesting, what I will do is I'll take a real problem statement that Walmart conducted. Okay. So today's session is on Walmart, obviously. And then let's take a real use case that Walmart actually conducted. So I'm going to take you to a website called Kaggle. So very interesting. We're looking at something called um, Kaggle, and this Kaggle is basically an open source community of data scientists and machine learning engineers from across the world. So what is Kaggle? Once again, it's like an open source community, just like we have Stack Overflow and all these other websites. Kaggle is also like an open source community of data scientists and machine learning engineers from across the world. So that's what Kaggle actually is, and different people come together, and it's a community. It's basically a community. So what is Kaggle? Kaggle is basically a community of data scientists and machine learning engineers from across the world. So that's what Kaggle actually is in this particular case, right? So this was a competition that Walmart conducted 9 years back. You can already start to see that data science was pretty established even around that time. At companies like Walmart, they were one of the pioneers of data science in retail and in other tech companies, obviously. So 9 years back, Walmart hosted a real competition, and what they wanted to do was they gave their own data, they gave their own real data, and they wanted the community, it's open source. They wanted the people to team up to try to predict the store sales at Walmart. In fact, this is a very interesting use case even at Walmart even today. Demand prediction and sales forecasting is an extremely important problem for retail. And if you try to connect a little to the Indian hyper local delivery startups that are mushrooming in the country today, we can talk about something like a Swiggy Instamart, a Zepto, a Blinkit, or even a big basket now. Amazon Fresh also to some extent they also give instant delivery, not instant exactly, but I think 6 hour, 7 hour deliveries they give you on the same day. And it's extremely important for these organizations to estimate demand. Swiggy Instamart by far is one of the biggest platforms in the country today when it comes to instant deliveries. And if you see Instamart, what they do is they need to be able to estimate the demand of products at a local level. So even at 11 o'clock at night, if I order milk, now mind you, milk is a perishable item. So it's an extremely important problem that Swiggy is solving, where they are trying to cater to customer demands even as late as 11 o'clock at night. So when you open up your Swiggy application and try to order for milk, Swiggy will tell you that, hey, yes, we will still deliver the milk for you. Okay. So, so the two things can happen. One is if the milk goes out of supply, then you will see out of stock. Then as a customer, you'll be disappointed. So definitely in that particular case, Swiggy was not able to do the forecasting correctly. So if Swiggy was able to do the forecasting correctly, okay, if Swiggy was able to do the forecasting correctly, what can we say? Okay, I repeat again. If Swiggy was able to do the forecasting correctly, we can say that So when people really need something, they are able to get it. So when people really need something, they are able to get it. They're able to get what they actually require. That's the whole idea. So when people really need something, they're able to get the item. Okay. See, there are two problems that can occur. One is that Swiggy stocks too much of milk. And let me tell you why it is very important to estimate the demand correctly. So one is overestimation. One is that you estimate your milk very, very accurately. So one is you overestimate. So whatever demand you estimate is very, very high. So you go and estimate that customers require too much milk. That means you end up stocking too much milk in your local warehouse. They're called dark houses, right? So these are those closed. So what they do is they typically partner with small owners, and they occupy the ground floor of the flat, and that is completely closed. It's just their warehouse that they maintain, and they stock the items in their local warehouse, right? So that's how they are able to give. And even Blinkit promises 7 minute delivery, 7 to 10 minutes delivery. It's even faster. Blinkit is by Zomato, obviously. All of you know that. So, so if Swiggy stocks too much of milk on their platform, what will happen? What will happen if Swiggy is stocking too much of milk on the platform? So if Swiggy is stocking too much of milk on the platform, then and if customers do not even if customers don't even buy all that milk, then it will go to waste. That's the problem that will occur. If customers don't even buy all that milk, it will go to waste. That's the problem that will occur. So forecasting too much is a problem. And even if you forecast too little, even if you say that, okay, we need only this much of milk, if you forecast too little, you will have little milk in your cell. And from that perspective, you see, then that also is the problem. Because late night at 11 p.m., if I'm trying to order Amul Taza milk, I will not get it. I will see out of stock. And you will actually see this. Now, Amul Taza will still be available, but other high-end milk products, like you see those Tetra packs are still okay. They're not perishable. But the ones that come in packets, you will oftentimes see that they're out of pack. These are the kind of problems that you will solve in the real world. Okay. So sales forecasting is an extremely important problem, even in the Indian context. How much of items you want to store in your warehouses? Okay. We basically call it inventory planning. How much of inventory you want to? Inventory is an extremely important problem in retail typically, because mind you, all these these Swiggy, Instamarts, these Blinkit, the Zeptos of the world that we have today, they will have only a limited amount of physical real estate. Per square feet, they are paying a tremendous amount of money for rent. Mind you, don't forget the amount of rent they are paying. So there is a cost involved. So every square feet, every square inch of space that you're utilizing, there's a cost involved, mind you. Okay. So let me help you appreciate the challenge. I only have a limited amount of physical real estate per square feet. Let's say 10,000 square feet of retail space I've got. Okay. A warehouse space I've got. In that 10,000 square feet, I can only fit as much products. Okay. So if I say that in my warehouse only milk will be there, it's a problem. I'm just trying to help you appreciate why inventory planning is so important. So you have to optimize your inventory in such a way that you have the most diverse collection of products in that limited amount of physical space. At the same time, you're catering to local customer demands. At the same time, you're going back and catering to local customer demands. That hey, customers typically in this particular block in Calcutta usually order these kinds of items, and customers typically from sector 51 in Gurgaon at 11 p.m. order these kinds of items. Let's say Gurgaon people are more into, let's say, ice creams and all. Okay, whereas Calcutta people at night will be more into sweets. So let's say something of that sort. Okay, something of that sort. So you might have some rasgullas and all available even at night in for Calcutta customers. Whereas let's say for Gurgaon customers at night 11 p.m. you will have ice creams available, something of that sort. Okay, so these are some extremely interesting problems we are actually solving now. Moving on, what was this data set all about? Let's see. Let's understand it now in the Walmart context. How is the Walmart context different? Now, what Walmart try to do is they try to predict how much of store sales will happen in the next month. Now, remember, for companies like Walmart, December is a very crucial period. They are trying to constantly predict what will happen in December. December is New Year, Christmas time. Now, the sales at Walmart, to predict how much sales will happen in December, we need a lot of information. Okay, this is the part where when you're trying to also go through this life cycle that we talked about. how do we frame the problem statement? The problem statement is how much of sales will happen in the month of December in that particular store. Now, what type of data do we need? What type of data do we need? Let's see that. So the kind of data that we will require is, let me just write it down for you. What type of data sources do we need to solve this particular problem? Okay. So now again, Walmart has already given this data for us. I can go to my data section and we can already see the data that they have already shared. But I just wanted to give you the more practical viewpoint how this was even collected. Kaggle is a hackathon, it's a competition platform where Walmart already gave you the data. I'm just trying to give you the view on how they gave you this thing. You can see. So we will need some data from, let's say, Walmart's own system. So some data will come from Walmart's own historical sales system. This is Walmart sales data over the last 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. I will look at Walmart's own sales data spanning over the last 5, 10 years. That's one source of information I will have. I will need to have information of the weather information I will need to have. Okay, I will need to have information about the weather information I will need to have. So weather information is basically weather information in this particular case is I will need to know the weather patterns as well because the weather is also an extremely crucial aspect. See, obviously to predict how much sales will happen in December, knowing the historical sales data is very, very important, right? Knowing the historical sales data is very, very important. That's one way to look at it. But obviously, we also uh, 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 we also go back and need information about the weather. Like keeping every other factor constant, if there is a lot of snowfall in a particular area, then people will come out and visit Walmart stores a lot less. That's one way to look at it. Okay. So if there is a lot of snowfall, so this is what basically happened last year in US as well. If you know, the US was suffering from adverse weather conditions, and we know that obviously, if keeping every other factor constant, if there is too much snowfall, then people sales will be less. People will not come out on the streets too much. But if the weather conditions are favorable, if there is less snowfall and all that, then people will come out. So sales data is important. We need to have data from weather channels, weather APIs. That is the other source of information we require. We also need data about the US economy. Very, very interesting. I will call it macroeconomic data. Mind you, these sources of information are coming from outside Walmart. Now, Walmart, it does not collect weather data. Walmart will not have sensors for weather and all that. Macroeconomic data will be things like inflation, interest rate, GDP per capita, purchasing power parity. Okay, what is the unemployment rate in the United States? Okay, these are the kind of problems that we are trying to solve. Okay, so these factors are also extremely important predictors to predict how much sales will happen in a big company like Walmart. Walmart is one of the biggest retailers in the world and also by far one of the biggest employers in the world also, if you see. So I think after Indian Railways and all, Walmart counts as one of the biggest employers in the world globally as well. It's a huge employment generator as well. So the size of the US economy will have a tremendous impact on the sales that Walmart is able to generate, I would say. Okay. So for example, right now, just to connect it back to the real world scenario, how it happens, uh, the Federal Reserve in the United States, the central bank has raised interest rates, if you see, which is why most of the main central banks across the world have also raised interest rates, if you see. Okay. And because the interest rates have increased, that is the reason why your fixed deposits and all these other repo rates have also gone up. Okay, so you're getting more money for your FDs and all those other kinds of things, right? So you can once again see the macroeconomic conditions are unemployment has also increased. Okay, so there's a little bit of a recessionary tendency in the US economy as well. These are very, very important factors to predict the sales. Okay, we will also need data from the stock markets. The United States, the major stock exchange that we have is S&P 500. Okay, so S&P 500 data we will also need. So how are the top 500 companies in the US performing? Because to know Walmart sales, I will also need to know that how the other 500 companies in the United States are doing, the top companies are doing. It's almost like looking at the Indian Sensex 30, the list of top 30 companies in India. So that will give you a very good health of the economy as a whole. Okay, the economy is doing good. People will have more consumption power, purchasing power, and they will come out and shop more in Walmart. But let's say you lost your job, there is a lot of recession in the market, then you will want to conserve cash. So whatever, let's say tomorrow there's a birthday and you will ideally want to go out and spend for a birthday, but because there is a bit of a cash crunch, you will not want to spend. So Walmart sales will be impacted. These are all real problems that we are solving. Okay, this is basically what constitutes raw, dirty data coming from different systems. And this is in fact a kind of a question that also gets asked at times in organizations. Not only Walmart, but any product company, they will give you a particular case study, right? So not like a plain vanilla technical question like what is this, what is that, and all those interview question nonsense that you see, top 50, top 100 interview questions. All the YouTube jokers will post it, no? So somebody will come, hey guys, like and subscribe my channel. There are top 20 interview questions. So what they do is each person copies from each other. One joker will post, the other person will copy, another person will copy. None of those questions eventually get asked actually. Anyways, that's on a lighter note. Companies will often ask you a case study based question. So case study based questions are very popular, where they will give you a real problem that they are solving. Let's say in Walmart's case, they will tell you that, hey, this is what we want to do. This is the kind of problem we are solving. Can you tell us the approach, how we will approach? There, they are not expecting a theoretical answer. They are expecting you to explain it like, okay, so first is the the initial part on data discovery. What kind of data do we require? So we have to put our business hats and we have to think that okay, to solve this problem from a domain perspective, what types of problems do we need to solve? So we need to get data from sales system, weather system, macroeconomic data, stock market data. All these data sources are required. The next question is that data accessible? Do we have permissions to access this data? Weather data is free of cost, public APIs, macroeconomic data, US government releases the data. So that is again freely available, publicly consumed data. S&P 500 stock market data is also publicly available. Walmart sales data, obviously internally, you have to check on permissions. So you get your data, and the third step is you clean and pre-process your data. This is the next part where you do data cleaning or data pre-processing. So this is the part where you do data cleaning, and after doing data cleaning, what you get is you get the clean data. So initially we had the raw, dirty data, and now you basically have the clean data. Okay, so you get your data from different sources, you clean your data, and you get the clean data. And next, what we do is we do some kind of data pre-processing. We do some kind of data pre-processing to pre-process our data. And after that, we start to build our prediction models. It's only after that that we start the process of prediction and all those kind of things, right? So these are the different steps that are involved in the typical data science life cycle. And even if you look at a real Walmart use case, you can see that they've given store number, temperature, fuel price. Even the cost of fuel is also very important. I'll tell you why, friends. Because if oil prices are very high, right now today in the Indian economy, today oil is costing like what I think 105 rupees a liter in our country. Most of the parts of the country, 100 plus rupees are very expensive petrol has become. And if oil is costly, everything else downstream will also become costly. Because even those, the mangoes and the fruits and vegetables and cereals that you consume, they also need to be transported by the trucks and trains, right? So if oil becomes costly, then everything across the economy, inflation peaks up. So oil is a very important indicator of inflation in the economy. Because if oil becomes expensive, then the transportation cost increase, the supply chain cost increase, and everything actually increases. So what I really wanted you to understand through this 5 to 10 15 minutes conversation is the business know-how is extremely important for organization. Okay, we are away from the world where you'll be people will look at your resume, what you have done, how many years of experience you have, and they will simply ask you some useless 15-20 interview questions and you're hired. No, people will want you to think out of the box. We need people who have the uh, the vision to think out of the box. You're able to connect with real world events. Now, you can't say that I don't know there is a war between Ukraine and Russia going on. You're a wonderful data scientist. You have learned all the technical concepts perfectly. You're able to solve a lot of real problems, but you cannot say that I don't know there is a war going on. You don't know what is Russia. You don't know, okay, what are the geopolitical tensions. You have to be well read. Okay. So it's expected that people are able to think out of the box. They're able to think from different geopolitical and macroeconomic contexts, and they're able to think on the basis of that. Let me tell you why it's important. See, there are a lot of real problems. Okay, let's say for example, Russian oil. If you know India in the month of May, it's a trivia information I'm giving you. India is one of the biggest purchasers of Russia oil today. Okay, so because I think because of Western sanctions, if you If you know, Russia is not able to export its oil to other countries. So India and China have emerged as the biggest buyers of Russian oil. They are giving the oil at a discount. The crude oil is coming at a discount. So I'll tell you why it's important. Because if you do the cost projections in the Indian economy, maybe 2, 3 months down the line, we are expecting the prices to come down. Okay, we are expecting the prices of oil to come down because India is purchasing crude at a very high, very low price. Russia is giving discounts on Russian crude, and the Indian oil refineries, HPCL, BPCL, the petrol pumps that we see, they will also be selling the price of the petrol at a lower price going forward because they are buying at a lower price. Okay, so many companies that are using forecasting models for their transportation, supply chain, logistics, and all that, they will take this particular pattern into account. This pattern only started happening from May onwards. India is one of India basically went from literally, if I give you the numbers, from zero, they were absolutely net zero buyers of Russian crude. Okay, before the war started, Ukraine war, and from since the war started, they went from zero to I think probably some 2.5 million barrels a day of crude India purchases from Russia. This will have huge ramifications on the price of crude. And let me tell you, if you're a data scientist working at something like an HPCL, BPCL kind of a company, or the ONGC, the oil refineries you're talking about, they are buying crude oil at a very low price. The PSU companies are buying crude at a very low price, but they're actually selling at a very high price. So they're extremely profitable today as we speak. Okay. So a lot of interesting things are there. Again, the domain knowledge is extremely important. You can't get into a company like Walmart in retail without saying, I don't have domain knowledge. You have to have understanding about what are the kinds of things that impact customer behavior. Retail is all about customer behavior, customer buying patterns. So what impact customer buying patterns? You have to read a lot of stuff. Behavioral psychology. The more you are well read about different things, the more interesting your candidature becomes. Not just a bland, boring person who just knows data science and machine learning and all that nonsense, but you also have a lot of other things that you know, and you can get into more interesting conversations with the recruiter and the technical manager on a whole lot of different topics. I think the diverse skill set is something that is generally being looked for generally. If I talk about the importance of these kinds of competitions, I will tell you. If you wish to be considered for an interview at Walmart, allow folks to contact me. So you can absolutely use platforms like Kaggle. So platforms like Kaggle can be used to uh, to basically get shortlisted for companies like Walmart initial rounds. And we are seeing increasingly companies are using these kinds of hackathon platforms where they are uh, pushing a competition. They're encouraging the people to participate, and based on that, they're choosing whoever is getting the best answer. I'll come to the specific process for Walmart in a while, but it's the general thing that happens across organizations. I will take up one more very interesting use case for you. Okay, so in the on the lines of the data science life cycle I discussed, I'll take one more very interesting use case for you. This is also a competition that happened a few months back. A real use case I'm taking, not just some random use cases. In fact, that's one of the objectives what we are trying to do, real use cases. American Express is another top credit card issuer that we have. Okay, so American Express also opened this competition around almost around just a few months back, 10 months back. Okay, and as part of the competition, Amex wanted to predict what is the probability a customer will default. Okay, so what is the business use case of the problem? Once again, the business use case of the problem is that you will go and look at the past customer data. Okay, Amex will look at the past customer data. Okay? American Express will look at the past customer data, the past customer historical data, that what type of, how much amount you have spent, how much bill payments you have done, what is your credit score, what is your age, where do you live, what is your income. So we look at the different attributes of the customer. Okay, I repeat again, we will look at the different attributes of the customer, your age, your income, your bill payments, your historical information, all that we will see for each and every customer. And based on that, Amex will try to predict what is the probability you will default on your card payments next month. These kinds of models are running every month. And if the customer is predicted to be a defaulter, okay, if the customer is predicted to have a high probability of default, then what will happen? Then Amex will proactively block your card. Next month, you go to a retail store and try to do a transaction, Amex will proactively block your credit card. Okay, because they know that you will not be able to repay for the next month, so they will proactively. So one fine day, you see your card is blocked. Why? Because there are models that are in place. So that is exactly the business use case of this particular problem. And if you once again see, the companies like Amex have actually they're actually using these kinds of competitions for hiring people. Okay, you can see if successful, you will help create a better customer experience for cardholders and the opportunity to interview with American Express. Okay, so these kinds of things are extremely popular in the new age hiring process, where companies are increasingly using competitions and out of the box methods like LinkedIn, social connections, GitHub, Kaggle. These kinds of platforms are used increasingly by recruiters to hire people. Okay, just wanted to make all of you aware. Okay, yeah, yeah. So again, real use cases, and to just to talk about it a bit more technically from American Express's standpoint, what type of data sets, what type of data do you think Amex will need for this thing? Okay, so Amex will require customer data from Amex's own database. You're an existing credit card holder, so American Express will already have some data about you. So they will know you, your age, your address, your income records, and all those things. American Express will know. They will also know your details from the civil agencies. In the Indian context, CIBIL is a central organization where all the banks, all the financial institutions, they collaborate and they share customer data with the central governmental agency called CIBIL. And on the basis of that, CIBIL gives out a score called a CIBIL score. I think all of you know CIBIL. So American Express will also have your CIBIL score, and they will know your any default you did on other bank credit cards, right? So you cannot be like, hey, I defaulted an ICICI bank card and I'm paying my dues very well on the American Express card. You can't do that. So they will also keep a track of all the past historical customer data that way. Okay, so Amex's own data they will have. They will need civil data, central governmental credit agencies data they will require. They will use American Express will also use macroeconomic data. The US government macroeconomic data will also be very important here. I'll tell you why that's important, because keeping every other factor constant, if the economy is undergoing a slowdown, so keeping every other factor constant if the economy is undergoing a slowdown, if there is slowdown in the economy, okay, I repeat again, keeping every other factor constant, if there is slowdown in the economy, if the economy is undergoing a bit of a slowdown, then the probability of the defaults will also increase. Okay, so if there is a slowdown in the economy, then the probability of default will also be very, very high, because customers will be less likely to repay their debts. That's one way to look at the whole thing. Okay, so if so that is also a very important factor. Economic data, inflation data, you know, something like an interest rate data are also very, very important factors. What happens if there is a slowdown? Okay, just wanted to help you once again appreciate the life cycle part a little. Now let's move on. I think we've talked quite a bit about this part, and these are the different roles that are actually involved. So data science is the whole process that we talk about, starting right from problem definition all the way to model deployment. So you typically have generalist data scientist roles that are available, but then there are more focused data science roles we also have. Like for example, data engineers. You might have seen organizations which hire only data engineers, and data engineering roles are meant for people who are primarily in the space of getting the data. We often use a term called ETL. What is ETL, friends? ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. Okay, this is ETL. So these are the kind of stuff that is done by data engineers. So they are the ones who are involved in extracting your data. So if you've heard of frameworks like Spark and Kafka and real-time extract through Kafka, Spark, you might have heard of something like a Hadoop, HDFS, Hadoop Big Data, Hadoop Distributed File System, right? And MapReduce algorithm. So these are all uh, problem statements where your data is residing in a certain format, and you as a data engineer, you are responsible for getting the data from that source system, and that is what data engineers will primarily do. Then the work goes more into data analysis, where you're simply involved in analyzing your data. And then finally, the machine learning engineers who are involved in building the machine learning models, which start from step number 5 on. And this, all the roles combined together is what we typically, in a very broad blanket definition, we call data science role. But then obviously in organizations today, yes, there are specialist data engineers, there are specialist ML engineers you will find in top product companies like Walmart. They will hire only ML engineers actually. They will hire only specialists. But then a lot of other companies generally, if you look at a lot of outsourcing companies we have today, or a lot of tech startups nowadays, they hire for the generalist role. So they will give you a broad data scientist designation, and you're expected to know everything. You're expected to know a bit of this, bit of this, bit of this, and then based on your project, you pick up the things that are required the most. Okay. Now let's come to the next part of the conversation. So let's talk a little bit about data science use cases, and also a little bit about how Walmart uses data science in the real world. Okay, let's come to that. Okay, so we can start our discussion with, let's say, a little bit on from the finance industry. So finance, there are a lot of interesting use cases of data science we talked about. Uh, One will be obviously in the credit card space, where companies like Visa, Mastercard, and American Express are trying to constantly predict what is the probability that a customer will default on the loan. So next time when you apply for the credit card, so a lot of data science is happening to predict the likelihood of default. And if you're a customer who is likely to default, then the card will not be given to you. Okay. Similarly, uh, if you look at banks, entire loan space, see, even credit card is a kind of a loan, right? Even the personal loan space. Okay. So the very fact that banks are trying to find out the probability of giving a loan or issuing a loan or something of that sort, even the whole personal loan space, if you see, data science is extremely important problem that we are trying to solve. So even in the whole personal loan space, if you see, data science is an extremely important problem because uh, right. So what we do there is we you if you have many other fintech companies, let's say MoneyTap or Paytm or Freecharge, or every other day you might have seen after you reach a particular credit score, these fintech companies is very easy to actually get a personal loan today. Even to start with 20,000, 30,000 rupee loans is something that almost everybody is giving nowadays, unsecured loans complete. So what are they doing? They're using a lot of machine learning. They are using a lot of data science to predict that, okay, based on your historical data, based on your age, based on your city, based on your location, they are already able to estimate how much salaries you might be making. And based on that, they're able to predict that, okay, this is the probability the person will repay the loan. So they will offer the loan to you. So they will say, okay, the loan is a pre-approved loan for this much. Okay. Another good use case could be in the credit card space. Let's say you're already having a credit card for a 1 lakh rupee credit limit. One fine day, you receive a email or a message from the bank which says, okay, your credit limit has been increased to 1,20,000 rupees. That is also a wonderful use case where banks are constantly using, uh, financial institutions are constantly using machine learning, and they are constantly using machine learning to predict. So financial institutions are constantly using machine learning to predict the probability that or what your existing credit limit will be. So we're trying to estimate what your credit limit will be based on your past historical credit limit. Okay, these are some very interesting problems that we are actually solving in finance. Obviously, this goes above the typical forecasting problems, where if you have an investment banking company or something like an ICICI Securities or HDFC Securities, they are having analysts who are constantly trying to forecast or predict what the stock prices will be a day from now, a week from now, a month from now, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we're looking at the historical trend in the stock price. Based on the historical trend in the stock price, we are trying to predict the future stock price. Okay. So based on the last 3 months stock price, we are trying to predict what the stock price will be on this month. So based on the last 3 months stock price here, we are trying to predict what the stock price will be on this month. So that's the problem that we are trying to solve in the credit card space. So these are some very interesting fintech use cases we have. Coming to the healthcare space, lot of good data science is happening there, uh, where we already have a lot of good use cases are happening where we already have, let's say, pharmaceutical companies like Practo. You can talk about the smart bands and all that we wear. So the healthcare industry and overall the medical space has completely revolutionized ever since COVID. We already have a lot of interesting cases where you look at the X-ray of a person, and based on the X-ray of a person, you are able to predict whether the person is suffering from a particular lung condition or not. So previously, this process used to be done by doctors. So now, using data science and analytics techniques, we are able to look at the image of the person's X-ray, uh, lung X-ray, CT scan, MRI scan. Radiology is what we call it. I think the big broad term related to medical imaging is called radiology. So we are able to look at the we are able to basically look at the different the medical imaging of the person's body, and based on that we are able to predict what is the probability the person has a particular medical condition? What is the probability the person has this disease, that disease, and so on and so forth? That's another wonderful, problem that we are trying to solve here. Okay. There can be other interesting things, like for example, we can talk about the Apple smartwatches or the Samsung Galaxy smartwatches, where they already have inbuilt models, inbuilt analytics built in, where they're able to look at your raw dirty data, the sensor data that is getting accumulated. You might have already seen Apple watches come up in the news a lot for fall detection and for irregular heartbeat detection. So a few seconds or minutes before you suffer a heart attack, the machine is able to recognize the smart band heartbeat data, is able to recognize the irregular heartbeat pattern, and is able to immediately alert the user that okay, this is the problem, and that user will can now take rest. So I think there has been a lot of scientific evidence to say that minutes before a heart attack, if a model is able to predict based on some irregular heartbeat patterns, you can actually like you can prevent it. Like there are ways to prevent a heart attack also, even before it has actually happened. So these are some wonderful use cases where analytics is being used, data science is being used, uh, and by looking at the gold mine of the past historical heartbeat data, heart rate data, we can estimate that okay, a heart attack is about to happen. So how can we intimate the user and prevent it? So these are some again wonderful use cases we can talk about. Healthcare, another space that we see booming a lot is the typical prescription space, where companies like Practo are involved. They are trying to do a lot of things in this space right now. If you see what we do in Practo is we have patients on one hand, we have doctors on the other hand, and doctors prescribe medicines. Right, on a video call or a conference, you will tell your problems to the doctor. The doctor will listen to your problems, and the doctor will give you the right diagnosis. The doctor will tell you, okay, this is what you can do, this is what you can do, and all that. So the doctor will write a prescription of medicines for you. Okay, that's the whole idea. Now, why not we can automate the whole process instead of having a doctor doing the whole thing? Wouldn't it be incredible if we can automate the whole process? That's another avenue where we can look at building a recommendation system where you're trying to match patients with certain types of symptoms with certain types of doctors, and doctors can also automate the entire process of medications and all that. So these are some wonderful use cases we can talk about in the world of healthcare. Okay, the list goes on and on. Actually, just wanted to mention a few. We can talk about obviously coming to retail. I'm going to come to in a minute because Walmart has a specific niche use cases. We can also talk about a little bit about the space of cybersecurity. Analytics is used extensively by companies, antivirus companies like Bitdefender for malware detection, ransomware remediation, and all these kinds of things. Even whenever I'm browsing a website, I can see there's an option I get for a real-time tracking. You can see there's an online tracker that is constantly being enabled, and these are the kind of trackers that is actually blocked. So this is called real-time protection. We are able to look at the features in the website, and we are able to constantly predict that okay, is this a threat or is this not a threat? It's able to look at the code in the website, the underlying HTML, and it's able to predict that does it contain a kind of a Trojan virus or something of that sort. So these are some interesting use cases where the entire cybersecurity space is also a lot of analytics actually happens. And this is a small use case. I'm talking about large enterprises with with like tremendous amount of connected hardware. Like you can talk about data centers and big organizations, security companies are actually employed to ensure that there are no intrusion attacks that happen. Because imagine an AWS data center, and that's extremely costly, and you don't want an intrusion attack to happen there. We're talking about networks of connected devices, and how do you make sure that you are able to prevent any kind of threats from happening there? So these are some very interesting problems that we are solving in the cybersecurity domain. I can talk about the education field for a minute. Education is another space where recommendation systems are being applied in a big way. So we can talk about, in fact, Alma Better for that matter, the kind of courses that we offer. The next generation evolution that the organizations are trying to do is how do we understand the kind of preferences you have? So we have got a lot of learners, a lot of enthusiastic participants who are in the session today. How can we listen to you? How can we listen to the kind of things you're looking for? And how can we tailor a curriculum automatically for you? Not like a manual human being will interact with you and we will design a static curriculum for you. But based on what you tell us, you interact with us, you tell us what you need, and the system will design a curriculum tailor made for you. Maybe if there are certain things we will not include that. So let's say we will tailor a module wise curriculum in a very personalized way based on what your requirements are. So we are seeing a lot of that also happening, personalized curriculum development and personalized guidance where artificial intelligence and data science is used to keep you engaged all through your journey. Because that's the other challenge that we see in the learning and development space. Because I have been involved in this space for a long, long time. And one key challenge that people face is that people lose interest, right? It's, recorded videos and all, it only goes a certain way. Like that's the reason why the Coursera's of the world and the edXs are failed. Because although they are giving a lot of things for free, but honestly speaking, you lose interest because there is no real interaction you're having. Just a few bland recorded videos you get, which are absolutely boring. I'm not degrading the content. The content is good because the authors, renowned professors, all due respect to them. But as an audience, we still expect some kind of interactivity, some kind of engagement. We want a gamified platform. So gamification is one more thing that we are seeing uh, happening a lot in the edtech space. How can we gamify learning, which is something no, it's not. I can absolutely vouch for an alma mater in a big way. It's one of the few platforms that actually gamify the learning process in a big way, where we are able to give you quizzes, not just some random static quizzes that you get and you can Google out the answers, but we give you gamified quizzes, gamified assessments, and based on your performance, you're able to get to the next level and you're able to kind of get the next level of assignments and assessments in a slightly harder difficulty level. So these are some of the reinventions that the organization continues to do and the edtech space overall tries to do. I'm not talking about any one company, but generally, you're seeing the ecosystem evolving a lot. Okay. So how can we personalize your learning a lot better? How can we look at your past learning history? Let's say, oh, for the last 3 weeks, you have not logged into the platform. Is there a problem there? Is it that you are not well? Is it that you have lost interest? What is it? How can we engage you even further? How can data science tap into that gold mine of your past engagement activity? So we see that you are extremely engaged before. You are like logging in on an average 15, 16 hours a week before. All of a sudden, last 3 weeks, 0 hours of logging. That's an outlier. That's a problem. How can we use data science to resolve that? So not like a manual person will have to uncover that insight, but we have processes inbuilt which will uncover that data and it will give recommended guidance on the basis of the data. And one example of recommended guidance would be we will shoot off an automated message to you and we will shoot off an automated email to you, maybe an automated video to you, something which kind of a motivational video and how to carry on with the journey. We can probably cite an example of a past student who also went through a similar phase and maybe we think that you are also going through a similar phase and how can we so this is one some of the ways how we can work through it. Okay, all right, wonderful. So just wanted to take all of you through some of these general use cases. I wanted to talk about a few other use cases and then we'll move on. Just a minute here, friends. These are a few other known use cases that we basically have, and I just wanted to take you through it a little bit more here. These are your the so-called voice assistants that we see nowadays, and in all the use cases I talked about, retail companies, product companies, whatever, finance companies, we have these kinds of voice assistants that are pretty ubiquitous nowadays, where you say something and they are basically triggered by speech recognition technology. So as you can see, analytics is again being used in a big way in these organizations as we speak. Okay, all right. Google Do Play. This is self-driving cars. This is the use case I was talking about. Radiologists, how they are able to look at the X-ray of a person and how we are able to predict the probability the person is suffering from a particular kind of disease based on that. Okay, even disease diagnostics is a very evolving space. So we talked about only X-rays a while back, but in the medical fraternity, even disease diagnostics, like the whole idea of you having a particular medical condition and going to a doctor physically, I think that that concept can completely go away after a while. Okay, not entirely, but then to some extent it can go away because we can have models in place which can look at the X-ray image of the person or the diagnostic factors of the person, and based on that, they can predict what kind of disease you're actually suffering from. Okay. Now this is very interesting. We can talk about sports for a minute, and we see a lot of data science being applied in sports. Now we know we have got a lot of IPL fans, obviously cricket fans, soccer fans, Dream 11, one of the biggest companies, we in fact did a masterclass on Dream 11 sometime back. Very interesting. Dream 11 uses data science in a huge way. Okay, so Dream 11 is a platform. It's a fantasy platform where you can pick up your favorite IPL team, and before 7 p.m. the match starts, your team has to be shortlisted. And what has to happen is, if your team does well in the real world, you win points, you win prizes. Okay, that's the whole idea. The same has the other games as well, soccer, hockey, and so on and so forth. And cricket is cricket and soccer and games generally at a massive pace where data science is being used. And this was popularized by, I would say, a company called, movie called Moneyball. I wanted to take you there. I'm sure you've seen the movie, Brad Pitt's Moneyball. Very interesting, where this is particular baseball team that uses computer-based methods, data science, basically to uncover insights from past historical player data. So he literally looks at the kind of positions players play well, and he uses data science to basically figure out who to play, who not to play, and things like that. Very, very interesting. And I think you'll be inspired. This movie was released back in 2012. You can already start to see uh, around about the same time where Harvard Business Review said data science is the sexiest job of the 21st century. So all these things basically came together, and I think it really picked up as a field, I would say. But just wanted to help you appreciate that it's not a new thing at all. Statistical methods, data science, analytics techniques have been used for decades, and this movie is a testament to that. One of the earliest sports that have used data science is baseball. It's not cricket, it's not soccer, it's baseball actually. Okay. Obviously, nowadays, if you see in IPL teams, the process of bidding and the way that strategy decision making is done, a lot of it is based on data science. Which batsman to play, how do you figure out your lineup for the last next game? How many spinners to play? How many fast bowlers to play? It's not just based on emotional decisions. Okay, we have to. I think there was some debate on R. Ashwin being left out last game. I think people who follow cricket will know. But but then we look at the past historical data, and we take decisions on the basis of that. Maybe a lot of questions are being raised about Rohit Sharma's captaincy now. But yes, I mean, I think the data suggests that. When you look at your historical data and you look at the kind of decisions he has made, probably are not right all the time. Okay. So even in soccer, I'll tell you what, World Cup final, World Cup final, the biggest thing on the stage. Who are your penalty takers? How do you decide that? It's probably one of the biggest decisions for a coach, a do or die. Something that can get you fired, basically. So if you do it well, you'll be a national hero. If you don't pick the thing well, you'll be an absolute disaster. So how do you decide which players will be your penalty takers? How do you decide who will take the penalty in which slot? It's an extremely important data science problem. Don't think that is based just on random thing. Even the lineup for a penalty, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is completely pre-planned. Okay. The fact that Lionel Messi will come in right now and take a penalty shot, that is completely pre-planned. And there is a lot of data science that is happening behind the scenes to figure out, even to the point of where he will shoot. Okay. Sometimes you would have seen, they will aim for the top left post, the top right post. Have you figured out why they do that? Again, data science will be used. They will look at historical data. They will see typically the goalkeeper, what side they tend to jump, and based on that, the players will take a call. I'm not saying that ultimately on the field, Messi will, you can't tell a Messi that, hey, shoot to the top right now. You can't do that. Then you completely lose the flavor of the game. But the analytics will be shared with Messi. Okay, the analytics team and the coaches will ensure that Messi knows that the opposing goalkeeper typically tends to behave this way, and based on that, Messi will shoot, wherever he thinks is right now at the end of the day. Okay, but the data will be shared with him. Just wanted to help you appreciate once again sports, and this is actually very interesting. This is Anil Kumble's startup called Spectacom. I don't know how many of you know Spectacom. Very interesting. I wanted to share this with you. So Anil Kumble has this startup called Spectacom. So this is like a power bat. So what they do is they use sensors in the bat, and they use real-time sensor data from the cricket bat, and they use that to analyze the way, to train batsmen. Very interesting. This is actually used in cricket academy. Even I think I forgot the name of the team. It was also trialed in one of the IPL matches. I think Gujarat or something. I forgot the name, but this is the real use case. Okay, very interesting. And you can imagine how useful this could be. We've got bowling machines, and we can basically train batsmen to play certain types of shots. Now, Indian batsmen are traditionally not good for hookers, right? It's the same problem Ganguly used to face in the initial days. We have become better. I think Kohli and all the likes are much better hookers right now. But if you typically see, Indian pitchers are not fast and bouncy, which is why Indian batsmen are not that good in playing the hook shots and all that well. Okay. But these kinds of things can be used to encourage batsmen to play certain types of shots. So we can force the ball to come, at your head level or at your chest level, and we can basically test the batsman to see how well they're middling the ball. So we can consistently bowl the next 20 deliveries right at your face, and we can see how you're responding to those deliveries, how well you're able to hold the shots, and we can look at your real time sensor data from the bat. Okay, and we know that cricket is a lot about the power you generate out of the bat. How much of muscles and how much of body strength you have actually doesn't matter. If you look at players like Hardik Pandya and Ravindra Jadeja are one of the biggest six hitters in the game. Okay, you got giants in the game, right? On a lighter note, you've got giants. But see, I'm not comparing with Chris Gayle. There's no comparison. But I'm just saying that just having a well-built figure doesn't mean that you'll be able to hit powerful sixes. Okay, I think we've got enough examples of players. Don't want to degrade any of them, but big fat players who are absolutely useless when it comes to generating bat speed. So bat speed is the key. How fast you're able to shoot, the thing. So these are the kind of very interesting problems that Spectracom is able to solve. They can help batsmen with real-time data on how their bat speed is. And if your bat speed is good, it doesn't matter, your strength and all that. At a basic level, yes, strength is important, but then even players like, as I said, Ravindra Jadeja and Hardik Pandya, they are one of the biggest six hitters in the game as we have in Indian cricket today. Okay, so it's one of the longest hitters, mind you. Okay, so not like they're not like very well built figures, but they're still one of the longest hitters. So Hardik Pandya is very thin, you would have seen him, right? But he still hits extremely long sixes. Okay, uh, all right, let's move on. This is again email recommendation systems, and this is the kind of thing that we already have data science being used in a big way. Netflix does it for movies, Amazon Music, all the OTT platforms, Hotstar, Sony Live, Z5, and this is music apps like Shazam, Savan.com, Amazon Music, and Spotify. So this is recommendation. We are looking at a gold mine of raw data, user data, what kind of users you have, what type of songs you listen to, and based on that, we're able to recommend songs for you. And this is the same thing that even Netflix is doing. Netflix is also being taking it to the next level, friends. This is very interesting. I'm not sure how many of you have noticed this. Netflix even goes to the level of changing the posters. Very interesting. So you can see for Netflix user one, it is recommending Godfather. Netflix user two also is recommending Godfather, but is giving a different poster. The even the caption, the label is different because we think that this user is more towards, let's say, weddings and romance. So that user might like this kind of a thing more. Because what you want to ensure as an organization is that if I show this particular poster, how likely is the user to click on that particular poster? That's the problem that we are trying to solve. So if I show this particular poster, are you likely to click on that? If I show the next poster, are you likely to click on that? So if I show you this poster, how likely you are to click on that? If I show you the next poster, how likely you are to click on that? So that's the problem that we are explicitly trying to solve here. I repeat again, if you have to click on this poster, how likely you are to click on that? And if I were to show you this poster, how likely you are to click on that? So that's the problem once again that we are explicitly trying to solve. Okay, all right. So this is like what how Netflix is actually using recommendation systems. We can see this chatbot we already talked about. All right, now let's move on. Now we'll be going to the next phase a little before I come to this conversation on different organizations and things like that. We'll come to this. Before that, let's quickly talk a little bit more about Walmart, the kind of problems that Walmart is solving. I think I pretty much went through it a lot. Demand forecasting we discussed already. How important it is to forecast demand and why it is very very important to do inventory planning. We talked about that because if you cannot keep the right products in your shelf, customers will end up disappointed when they actually need them. So supply chain optimization again very important because pricing and promotion analytics is an extremely important space in retail. Okay, have you wondered on what basis companies are able to give discounts? On what basis organizations are able to figure out the kind of discounts they will give you? So how does a company like Walmart or a company like Amazon decide that okay the amount of discount that they will give for this particular item will be 10%, 15%, 20%, and so on and so forth. Okay, so a lot of data science is being used where they look at the competitor data from the other websites. So they basically look at the competitor data coming from other websites. Let's say uh, something like other competing retail websites. They look at the competitor data coming from there, and based on that, they will try to predict how much of discounts should be offered, how much of pricing will be kept, and it's an extremely important problem using which you're trying to decide cashback schemes and all. Have you wondered how companies like Palm Easy or how some of these companies are able to arrive at how much cashback to give you, because that is completely driven by data science. Because they think that okay, if I give this much cashback, then the customer is very likely to purchase. Okay, if I give this cashback, the customer is very likely to purchase. Let's say every other 1 week they will say okay, 125 rupees off. Okay, some other days they will say 50 rupees off. Okay, if you have not ordered from Swiggy for a long time, Swiggy will come back with a welcome 50% off voucher. If you have already been a regular Swiggy customer, they will not give you anything. But if you have not been using Swiggy for a long time, they'll come up with a discount offer for you. Okay, so this is again completely driven by data science. So pricing, promotion, analytics is a very very heavy data science oriented process. This is something that we know. Again, talking about Walmart, there are some very interesting use cases of recommendation systems we have. This is product recommendation. So this is the kind of thing that Walmart actually has been a pioneer for. So where they look at uh, the kind of items that are being sold in the retail store, and they're able to recommend that customers who buy this will also buy this. Customers who buy soap will also buy shampoo. Customers who buy a particular brand of this will also buy a particular brand of this. So customers who buy this will also buy this. Customers who buy this will also buy this. So we're looking at a lot of product recommendations on the basis of that. Okay, I repeat again. Customers who buy this will also buy this. Customers who buy this will also buy this, and customers who buy this will also buy this. A lot of very interesting product recommendations happen on the basis of this. Okay, so this is how we are looking at the whole field of recommendation system. So people who buy A also buy B, people who buy C also buy D, people who buy E also buy F. So this is the product recommendations that we are actually talking about. Okay, this is actually called market basket analysis technically, and this was popularized by Walmart back in long back. I would say 1998. There was a Forbes article that got released. I'm just going to quickly open it up for you. So we are talking about something as early as 1998, where Walmart actually found a very interesting correlation between beer and diaper. So very interesting. So Walmart actually found an extremely strong correlation between beer and diaper. So this is the beer diaper syndrome. You can actually see the screen. Very interesting. So what actually happened was Walmart saw that typically around late night, people who bought uh, evidently young fathers would make a late night run to the store to pick up Pampers and get some Bud Light while they were there. This was a very interesting correlation Walmart started observing. Okay, so this was not something that they thought that they will see, but this was on the basis of analysis of the gold mine of historical data that they were able to find this pattern. Every single time you purchase something, you're settling a bill, there's an invoice that is getting generated. And what you're doing is you're looking at that invoice data and you're saying that, okay, for each and every invoice, for each and every order, we are saying that people who buy this also buy this. People who buy this also buy this. And people who buy this also buy this. So that is how we are able to understand things on the basis of the invoice data. So people who buy this also buy this. People who buy this also buy this. And people who buy this also buy this. That's how we are able to look at the overall things right now. Okay. So people who buy item one also buy item two. That's the correlation analysis that we were able to see on the basis of the raw dirty data right now. And we were able to find a very strong correlation between diapers and beer. So this was a very strong correlation we were able to see. Very similar to the correlation we found between soap and shampoo. So people who buy a particular brand of soap also buy a particular brand of shampoo. So people who buy a particular brand of this also buy a particular brand of this. That's another thing that we were able to find. Okay, so people who buy a particular brand of this also buy this. This is again something that we see. So this correlation was also observed. Have you ever wondered next time when you go to a retail store, you see that two items are placed simultaneously together, so with a discount. So this is the same kind of thing that is happening behind the scenes. So talking about Walmart, another very interesting use case that they actually worked on was the correlation that they found between hurricanes and strawberry pop tarts. So very interesting. So even with weather events, Walmart was able to find a correlation. So typically, when hurricanes in the US were about to strike, the sales of strawberry pop tarts were starting to increase, and that was another very interesting correlation that they actually found, because Walmart actually saw that whenever hurricanes are about to strike, people are typically stocking up on more strawberry pop tarts on their shelves. Okay, so typically when hurricanes are about to strike, People are stocking up on more strawberry pop tarts. So strawberry pop tarts are being stocked up more and more. That's another thing that they actually found here. So these are some real use cases I wanted to talk about with respect to this particular space. Moving on, we also see a lot of data science Walmart is doing in the fraud detection space. If you see payment systems, online payment systems that Walmart is using, how do I ensure that the transaction that is happening is authenticated, is correct or not? Gift cards are a very popular form of fraud. I'm sure you've heard of gift card frauds where a lot of call centers based out of India have been acting as scam. They're scanning customers in the US typically on gift cards. I'm sure you've seen some YouTube videos around it. And there are entire YouTube channels where they kind of try to find those kinds of fraudsters actually. So gift cards are another extremely important space where Walmart is doing a tremendous amount of fraud detection. So if we see simultaneously many gift cards being purchased or gift cards being redeemed for a particular value, then that's a fraud. So we will ask you to authenticate or do some OTP authentication, things like that. So this is very similar to suspicious sign-in activity, suspicious activity detected. So let's say you want to log into Instagram. Okay, I'll give you a real use case. Let's say you want to log into Instagram and you want to go back and um, so you want to let's say you want to log into Instagram, and one of the things that you want to do is uh, you want to go back and you want to go back and you want to log into Instagram from a different portal or different place and things something of that sort. Okay, so that's another again a wonderful space of um, suspicious sign-in activity detection because we are able to identify or we're able to identify a suspicious activity because you're logging in from a different location, a different device, and Instagram will automatically ask you to authenticate and enter your username password. Okay, so these are some very interesting, use cases at Walmart. And one final use case, which is a bit of a niche use case, is energy management. Okay, and this I can relate to in my offices also in Walmart, Bangalore office and other offices where they actually use extremely uh, robust HVAC systems, heating ventilation systems, where they're able to use data science, look at energy consumption patterns, and based on that, they're able to optimize things. Okay, so these things are done in a very robust way in these organizations. They are very serious about carbon footprint and all that. Happens a lot in data centers also, where we are able to even go to the point of controlling the amount of electricity usage, how much of lighting should be on, how much of AC should be on, what is the ideal temperature that should be set. So all of those things are actually driven by a lot of analytics. Just wanted to make you aware, not just some randomly we do something, but even the point of automated lighting in offices where sensor-based lighting is very common in Walmart offices actually, where if you enter the room, the lights will be on, otherwise the lights will go off. So these are some excellent ways how we are able to again leverage data science to uh, you know uh, increase energy efficiency. Okay, now data science as a career option is definitely extremely healthy today. I know nothing to say particularly about this one. Everybody understands that uh, there's a tremendous demand in the world of AI today as we speak. So data scientists are extremely high in demand. And one thing I can definitely vouch for is for all the for all the trends that we see typically around uh, for all the talk that we see around recession and this that one thing I can definitely say is that there is a lot of demand in AI ML as we speak today. So data science jobs are extremely popular today, and a lot of the firing and job cuts that we see are happening mostly in the domains which are getting automated. So different tech functions which we feel are redundant are going away. But if you look at digital skills, primarily the thing that you're interested in, primarily for which you're in the session today, analytics, data science, machine learning, AI, we are seeing a tremendous amount of demand. You go to LinkedIn today, go to LinkedIn jobs, we see a lot of open job postings today as we speak. Okay. And as I already told you that hiring needs are changing. Organizations are finding out different ways of hiring people, and which is where job guarantee programs like what Algo Better offers you is actually helping a lot because uh, experience is actually not the most important thing anymore. Again, one question people often ask a lot that Sayan, we don't have experience. We are freshers. We have 0 years experience. So every other time we see a job post, they're asking for people with experience. But I think that trend is changing a lot. I can definitely vouch for that in companies like Walmart, that trend is changing in a big way. Because as long as you demonstrate the knowledge and the interest to learn and to work on a good thing, I think at the interview with your hiring manager level, those things can be excused. You can be a person with 15 years experience, but you can still end up knowing nothing. I'm sure you can see that is a pattern that happens. It depends on the trajectory of your life. See, with 15 years experience, people become settled. People get into their comfort zones. They don't like to experiment new things. They don't like to do new things. That's the problem. We don't need people like that. That's, I think, at good product companies, you always need people who are constantly having the drive to learn and do new things. But just asking for a 15 years experience person and having a wealth of experience with you, but that experience is only theoretical. Just in a matter of pen and paper, you have the experience. But in reality, do you have the drive and desire to do new things? Have you really learned a lot of new things? Maybe not. So we are far better. We are far well off in hiring lesser experienced people, even zero experienced people who are having a sharp aptitude. Which is why if you see companies like Walmart, they actually give a big focus on aptitude rounds. So puzzle-based questions are actually asked, and I'll come to some of those types of questions in a while, where the primary test is on people who have aptitude, good problem-solving skills. So puzzles are being asked to figure out how well you can think. Because with 10, 12 years experience, maybe we lose the ability to think well. We lose the ability to think out of the box. We get into a very structured way of solving problems. Okay, step one, step two, step three. But maybe that's not always what is required. You need people to think out of the box and ideate on different things as well. That's also very, very important. Okay. So how do companies use AI? We talked about a lot of use cases across a lot of different things. So I'm sure everybody got a good understanding of that. We talked about that, and uh, these are some of the. There's a lot of AI ML opportunities we have, and obviously, if you see right now today, just to give an idea to all of you, how much how difficult it is to hire people, what kind of challenges we face. Just wanted to put it out for you. uh, Generally, like what is the thing. So how much of effort we require to hire people in these specific technology areas. So Python development is a very available skill we have. So a lot of people generally know Python. So finding and the amount of effort we need is very less because identifying a person who knows Python is very easy because we can have a kind of a hackathon kind of an interface. I can give you a problem statement. I can ask you to solve that in Python. That can be a very easy way to evaluate you. Okay. So, but then hiring data scientists is the most difficult one because it is such a broad role. It is such a broad role that we find it extremely difficult to hire data scientists because first of all, how do you evaluate a data scientist? What kind of evaluations are required? Okay, so compared to other niche technologies, like let's say uh, knowing a Python, knowing a C, knowing a Java, if you look at some of these closed source projects like this, if I want to find somebody who knows some of these languages, hiring people is very easy. But data scientist is such a broad skill that we find it extremely difficult to hire people in data science. Just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea about the landscape here overall. Okay, how people get a sense of it. Okay, all right. Now let's move on. These are some of the general trends and areas where data science is actually being used. So when we talk about data science, generally, data science overlaps a lot with these things that you're able to see on the screen. So although we have generally talked about data science today, but data science actually it overlaps a lot with these emerging trends and technologies as well, which are part of the larger data science superset. I will not get into too much of these things, but these are some advanced concepts. But generative AI is basically like those very cool use cases that you see around, like you've heard of examples where machines are able to create paintings for you, machines are able to generate poems for you and things like that. So those are some of the use cases that we see in this particular field. Okay, I can give you a couple of examples, some cool examples we can see. Um, these are called generative models basically. NLP is basically where you're interacting with the human language. That is what we refer to as NLP. Okay, so I can just come to a small example. This is your Chat GPT. I'm sure everybody has heard of Chat GPT. Very simple example I wanted to show you. And let's say we've been talking a lot about uh, data science, and let's have a generative model right now. Let's build a generative model, something that is able to generate something. So ChatGPT is a model that is already trained on a lot of historical data, a lot of raw historical data we have trained it on. And now if I ask you to predict something, okay, so how can I, okay, let's say create a poem on data science, okay, write a poem on data science, okay. This is what it does for me. Just trying to give you a very simple random example of what a generative model basically looks like. Okay. Okay. This is what an example of what a generative model basically looks like. Okay. Okay. All right. So uh, you can actually ask it any other random question, how to generate images from text. Okay. You can actually see what type of models are actually used. You can see that we actually use generative adversarial networks for that. This is how we go back and generate images from text. So that's one way to look at it right now. So these are again these are all related to data science. Just wanted to give an idea to you. IoT is about Internet of Things, sensor related devices. Okay. Then we have all are related to AI, no code tools. We are seeing a tremendous amount of interest in the world of no code, low code tools. So tools are becoming a lot simpler. Tools are becoming easier to learn, and we are seeing a tremendous amount of interest in the world of no code devices, wearable devices, a lot of sensor data, telemetry data that is coming out of your smart bands, and wearable devices are being used for modeling, and we are seeing a lot of those overlaps as well as we see. Okay. Another field that is picking up a lot nowadays is something called explainable AI. Uh, and I would say, Purushottam, just to clarify, this is, I would say, one of the fields that is picking up a lot. Is one of the biggest hypes today. In fact, explainable AI, auto ML, and ethical AI ethics are three very, very important domains that are very new age, I would say. I wouldn't say it is unexplored because almost predictive domain. I think this is one space that we are all getting into in a big way. But I would say maybe it is still very unexplored right now. Will be the human computer interaction part, neural link, something that Elon Musk is trying to do, where we are trying to understand and trying to establish a connection between how machines think with the human being, with the human mind. I think that's probably one of the biggest advancements that we are making in the world of data science and AI today. I'm sure people are aware of Neuralink and the progress it has made. So we are at a stage today where we can even predict what you are dreaming. So based on the signals in your brain, we can estimate what kind of dreams it is, and we can convert that to text. So which is quite incredible. It's quite incredible how those kind of things can happen. But these are some other known avenues where data science is being used, and slightly newer avenues, not like the usual use cases we talked about, but then explainable AI, very important because uh, one of the things that we have heard of in machine learning a lot, and this is a bit of a technical thing, everybody may not relate to it, which is okay. But one of the things that we have heard of in machine learning is that it's a black box. So it's a black box. We don't exactly know completely what's going on behind the scenes. It's a black box. And that's one argument that we have heard of in machine learning. So we see a lot of progress where machine learning can be used for, um, you know, machine learning can be used for like how do we interpret the models? How do we explain the models that are actually happening? So how do we go back and explain what's going on? Auto ML is another very very uh, interesting area of research today. We see a lot of interest in auto ML where this is like no code AI development. You don't need any experts for that. Even somebody with absolutely zero knowledge, some of you might not know anything about machine learning today as we speak. So auto ML is another big space where you can just use a GUI based interface, and based on that, you can go back and build a machine learning model. So that's the whole idea around auto ML and ethical consideration, the ethics of AI, right? So how do we go and keep in mind the ethics of AI, and how do we basically keep the not only just doing a prediction model, but then how do we keep the ethical considerations in place? Like for example, Netflix recommends a particular video for me, but that is against my sensitivity, my race and my region and all that. Like I don't know, like Netflix is just a whole huge library platform, right? So let's say one fine day or YouTube recommends a particular video which I do not like. It goes against my religious preferences or something. So YouTube recommends something to me, and that's the problem. So the recommendation part happened okay, but that actually that goes against the ethical considerations on how it should be done. Let's say for a particular country, those kinds of videos should not be recommended, but YouTube did that. So these are some of the challenges that we are actually trying to solve today. Okay, yeah, these are some of the broad skill sets that companies look for. I think I already talked about, and I'm talking about some of the top product companies and even the outsourcing giants in India. These are some of the major things that companies look for. Python obviously is from a programming language perspective. Python is the most popular uh, language that they're actually looking for. In fact, talking about the interview process at Walmart itself, the very first round that Walmart conducts is the hacker rank interview round. Now it can vary a little across locations and across experience levels, but the very first round of interview typically is a technical round on hacker rank. Hacker rank is actually a competition platform, so they will give you 45 minutes to 1 hour of time, and that's like a shortlisting round basically. So the shortlisting is not just through a random resume, but it's through hacker rank. So anybody is free to apply. You apply, you open a profile on HackerRank. We give you a 1 hour quiz on Python where you'll be actually solving coding problems. You'll be solving coding problems. Okay, you'll be solving those problems analytically. We'll analyze how well you can code in Python, and based on that, you will progress to the next round. So programming and knowledge of coding is extremely important in these roles. Okay, I'm not saying that you need to memorize everything and all that. It can be taught. Something that we do in our courses also in a big way. We have a very detailed boot camp around it, but coding is actually focused on in a big way. Data visualization, how well you understand charts, graphs, everything. Excel, no, needless to say, is one of the biggest tools we have today. A very advanced tool, and you need to have a good knowledge on Excel as well to understand how to analyze data. Business savvy, domain knowledge, I talk quite a lot about it. Data scientists having a business knowledge is very important. Communication skills and teamwork, very important. The softer skills, very important. How do you interact across different team members? Like understanding a problem, talking to your customers, how to solve it, how to approach it. These are very important problems we are solving. Okay. And then having the technical knowledge in terms of advanced statistics, mathematics, uh, NLP. SQL is a very important skill. SQL questions are also asked quite a lot in interviews. And finally, social media mining. Okay, these are some general skill sets that we actually look for. Uh, SQL and Python still rates as two of the most important skill sets that any organization typically generally asks for. SQL basically is the language that we use to query databases. So and so most of organizations' data are stored in databases nowadays, and SQL structured query language is used to query data from databases. So SQL remains a very important skill along with Python, and then we come to the machine learning skills as well in the next round, the upcoming round. So even companies like Walmart, the first round, the hacker rank round that they do, you'll be facing a lot of questions on Python and SQL. And once you clear those two basic ones, then you go to the next round, which is going to be more like uh, a technical round one, where they will ask you fundamental ML questions. Then technical round two, then you can where you can get into some case study based questions with the hiring manager. We'll give you a proper case study that, hey, this is the problem statement that we are solving. How do you approach it? And you have to talk right the way I talked about, right from the beginning, that get your data, clean your data. This is the process we'll follow. Add some technical stuff to it. This is the algorithms we will be using, and this is the modeling that we'll be doing. And then we come to the final HR round where negotiations and the salaries happen. Okay. So that's just one thing I wanted to clarify. It can differ a little from process to process, but generally that's the way that interviews happen across globally. I would say not only in India but globally, because Walmart being a global organization is a certain fixed way interviews are done. Okay. Okay. But again, plus minus here and there, some changes can be there. Apart from the standard technical interviews that I talked about, Hacker Rank. Hacker Rank, by the way, I'm not sure if people know it. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times, but Hacker Rank is basically this platform. Okay, let's show you. So Hacker Rank is basically this. Just for people who do not know, Hacker Rank is an online coding test and technical interviews platform. Okay, it's a market leading technical assessment platform. So companies like Walmart, they use Hacker Rank, and what they do is they upload their problems on Hacker Rank. Okay, so they upload their problems on Hacker Rank. This is how it actually looks like. So they will go and upload their problems on HackerRank, and people will go and solve the problems. This is like this. They will write the code and they will solve the problems, and com- excuse me, and companies will go back and select, kind of select and shortlist their candidates on the basis of that. That's how the whole thing will actually happen. You can see get started hiring with Hackathon. So more than 3,000 tech teams, they do this thing. Just wanted to give an idea to you what type of problems are actually being solved here. So this is the initial round that will typically be conducted, and then you come to the technical rounds of interview. And apart from the general technical round, and behavioral rounds where you'd be asked more like HR questions, your past experience, that's also important because oftentimes companies will want to know what you did before. This is particularly useful for mid senior and senior positions where they will want to know your experience a little. And if somebody is coming with, let's say, 5-10 years of experience, we will want to understand what your past experience was. And don't try to think that if you're from a different domain, you will always be at a disadvantage. That's not right because I think we're seeing the world of technology revolutionizing a lot. So just because you came from a different domain, a different industry, doesn't mean that you don't stand a chance at Walmart. But you have to understand that that you got to be able to relate your experience to the job you're applying for today. So that's where the behavioral rounds become very important. How good a fit you are, what kind of efforts you put in. So if you have somebody who has, let's say, spent 5 years on some company and you've taken some time out, taken a course like what you're taking at Alma Better, and if you're able to explain that, okay, so I've invested 5-6 months of my time doing this course, and then I'm actually able to relate a lot better to my past experience, and now I'm applying. That's like actually much more appreciated, I would say, because as an organization, we love people who are taking time out of their schedules, and despite parallelly working, you are able to invest time on courses like this. I think these are skill development courses, not like you're spending an entire 3 year full time for a course, but you're actually taking time out every evening or every weekend, and you're taking these kinds of short skill development courses. I think skill development is coming up as a huge game changer in the industry because people are able to continue working and organizations are able to hire faster. They don't have to wait for an entire 3 years of a person to get completed, but in a span of 6 months, you can accomplish what you will probably learn in within 3 years in an tech program or something. And I think any which ways, excuse me, system. Just a minute, excuse me, guys. Okay, sorry about this, guys. Had a bit of a oh, okay. No, Tanya, I think just on mute for a minute. Had a bit of a cough and sneeze. Okay, sorry. So I was just talking a little bit about technical interviews and behavioral interviews a while back, and and definitely I was talking a little bit about the modes of interviews that are being conducted and the importance of these platforms. And obviously, it doesn't really matter which what year of the course you're in right now, but I just wanted to once again reiterate that uh, I think companies have become a lot more evolved across the board. That we are not just looking for people to have a formal degree. Uh, and I would say even organizations like Google, if you know, I think you've probably read in the news already. Organizations like Google have, to the point, have even started rolling out certificate courses where they're encouraging students to take those short-term certificate courses, and that way uh, they can get job ready. And this is coming right from behemoths like Google. So post-graduation definitely is still a barrier that we are yet to break. I think that we are coming out of that, because the whole idea is learning. I think that's how we are seeing the industry evolving a lot. So yes, Tanya, I will not say that absolutely that is not required. Definitely, uh, there are certain job descriptions, JDs, where you will still see PhDs and postgraduates are required, but at a fresher level, definitely not. But if you're looking at companies like Walmart, certainly not. It's not that you need to be a postgraduate to enter into it and all that. So no, I think those patterns are changing generally. We're seeing those trends are changing. It will take a while. I think college and the physical concept of a college is, I would say, excuse me, um, the physical concept of a college, I would say, is obviously something that you know is yeah. So is something that is kind of, I would say, the physical concept of a college is something that is something that sheen is reducing a lot right now nowadays as we speak, and organizations are becoming more and more willing to invest in people who are able to who are basically kind of uh, able to demonstrate the skills. So if you're able to learn the same content that a postgraduate will teach you, rather than wasting 3 years of your life doing something which you can study in a matter of a few months, why not? Right? Because we all know the kind of learning that happens in colleges. Come on, even organizations are realizing that instead of wasting 2 3 years of your time learning something and wasting your time, why not you learn the same skills while working on the job? So maybe you're working on a different domain, it's okay. But rather than wasting your time doing something where you will anyways not learn, why not you utilize the same skills? Maybe you learn by yourself. I'm not vouching for any platform also. I'm saying why not you learn the same things yourself? You're able to study the whole thing yourself, no problem. But the interview process and the hiring process is very, very transparent. So the whole idea is we are giving everybody the equal opportunity. Whether you're from IIT, MIT, Harvard, doesn't matter. You have to sit in the coding platform. That's it. Everybody has to go through hacker rank. That's it. Simple, straight process. Whether you're a class 10 graduate, fine. No, I mean, 12 graduation is a basic requirement. Obviously, that again, we can debate and argue about it, but then that's how it is. Even that barrier will slowly go down later. But basic graduation requirement is obviously there. And Walmart, to specifically talk about Walmart, there is one more barrier that Walmart specifically has at a fresher level. Walmart only hires from tier one colleges. So even for all the hacker rank and all I talked about, Walmart only hires from tier one colleges. At a lateral level, once you have 1 year, 2 years experience, then you're free. Then you're like in the open marketplace. Your college means nothing actually. Whether you're from NIT, IIT, that nonsense doesn't matter. Okay, so doesn't matter at all. But once you are having 1 2 years experience, you join some company, you are now in the open pool, the public pool. So where you come from, which college you graduated from, really doesn't matter. So now it matters in your skills. And yeah, so this is another thing I wanted to clarify, especially for a fresher audience. Your college can only take you to a certain level, not beyond that. Your college can open one door for you, two doors for you, not all the doors for you. So you come from a good college, some of you might be absolutely okay, very good, wonderful. But just to let you know, your college will not take you all through your life. Your college will not even matter maybe a few years from now. Nobody will give a shit about your college. Okay. So they will all people will care about is what you know. You can start from anywhere. You may not be anything today. But with your dedication, with your hard work, you can reach any position. So your credentials, your college, your qualification, your 4 years in IIT, NIT, computer science, we hear a lot of things. Some people are from tech, some people are from non-tech, and none of those things will matter. Technology is a great leveler. And if you're able to evaluate people the right way, it's a great. So apart from the typical technical behavioral rounds, we also have skill assessment rounds. And this is a very, very unique part of how interviews are conducted at Walmart, companies like Walmart. And one very popular kind of question that is asked are guesstimate question, basically. A very, very common kind of guesstimate question could be estimate how many cigarettes are consumed in India. I know this is a little, funny, but these kinds of questions are actually very important. I'll tell you what the company is testing is not the perfect answer, but the company is testing how you're approaching the problem. Very important. So we are looking not for the perfect answer. Nobody can give the perfect answer. See, I am sitting right now. I don't know the perfect answer either. We can debate and discuss on the fact. Okay. But I am stating 1.2 billion. Somebody will say India's population has grown, which is okay. I'm not looking for a perfect number right now. No. I'm looking for an estimate answer, how you're approaching it. So you say India's population is this. How many above 22? How many 16 to 22? How many less than 16? And very, very important, you state some data points, you make some approximations, you do segmentation, you make assumptions in the process. And through those assumptions, you come to the answer. Not like just one blanket answer. You say, okay, you know what, I think, something like 5.3 crore cigarettes are smoking every day. Means nothing. How did you get to that number? That is what I'm interested in. So this is also something that we look for in a data science interview when we ask technical questions. We don't look forward to the perfect answers. No. Even when a question is asked, even if you're not able to answer it perfectly, we don't care. But is your approach correct? This is what I did. This is the assumption I made. This is what I thought. This is how I approach the problem. Problem solving is a very important skill we are looking for. This is what is testing you on problem solving. So we are making some basic assumptions that, okay, people less than 16 years old are consuming no cigarettes. Zero cigarettes are being consumed. We are making some basic assumptions on the population. This is based on some trivia information. This is making some basic assumption that people from rural areas typically smoke lesser cigarettes than urban areas. This is again understood because rural population, and we can say that rural population purchasing power is less. And obviously, females consume less cigarettes than males because again, females generally are less smokers than males. These are some basic hypotheses that we are using. Uh, and based on that, we are getting to the number of cigarettes smoked per day, right? So very important, always get to the assumptions as well. And how many tablets are used in India? Okay. Number of tablets used in India. Okay. So how do you estimate that? B2B market, B2C market, how many tablets are sold in the retail market? Okay. Number of tennis balls is in India. So you can just understand how many tennis balls are used. So what is the catch here? You have to first figure out where are they used. Is it only for tennis matches, tennis academies? Who are the Mind you, tennis balls are also used for playing cricket, gully cricket. We use tennis balls there also. Tennis balls are the candies ball. That is an assumption you have to make. So we're looking for the way you're thinking through the problem, right? That's one way to look at it. Very interesting. You can see these are all different types of examples we can look at. Traffic patterns, traffic between Bangalore and Chennai. We want to know how many cars are flying every day, right? And even if you know the answer, we are looking for the approach. You just can't say, okay, I read in the newspaper yesterday, and no, that doesn't matter. Even I don't know the correct answer, but I'm looking for the approach. What kind of assumptions you made? How did you think through it? I will ask you 10 questions more on that. If you just quote one figure, not done. If you quote the wrong figure and you tell me the approach correct, you're shortlisted. That's the way to look at it. Okay. All right. Puzzle based questions are also extremely popular. These are the kind of questions for which I will recommend books like George Summers, Shakuntala Devi kind of book. Very, very interesting. Uh, let's solve one question. In fact, let's solve one question. This is a maybe one quick question we can do, and then we can get into some discussions with respect to Alma Better, what we offer. So, quick question. Let me hear from the audience. I've been going along for quite a while and just coming to the closing stages. So, just a quick question for the audience here. Then I will also have a series of polls and for all of you from here onwards. Quick one, guys. I'm just going to wait for a minute here for you to answer this one. Okay, anybody? Anybody wants to go on this one? Just a small example. All right, the answer is actually 100 kilometers. I hope people were able to figure it out. And the way we did it is it's actually a very simple math question. And this is basically what puzzle questions are based on. Puzzle questions are testing on basic math concepts in a way. And here also we can see the puzzle question. So we have got basically, let's say, one train coming at 40 kilometers per hour. The other train is coming at 40 kilometers per hour. So the relative speed is basically 80 kilometers per hour. So if I consider one train to be stationary, then the relative speed is basically 80 kmph, right? And the distance between the two trains is right now 80 kilometers, right? They're 80 kilometers apart from each other. Okay. So by the time the train crashes, this is stationary. This train is coming towards this other train, relative speed. So it will take 1 hour for the train to crash. So the time duration that has to elapse before the train crashes is 1 hour. Okay. Now in that 1 hour, I will take a red color to point it out. In that 1 hour, a bird has to start from here. It has to make all the way here, and it has to come back all the way here. It will oscillate. It will keep oscillating. How much distance will the bird cover? So basically, what we are asking now, we are rephrasing the question and saying that in 1 hour until the train crashes, how much will the bird travel? How much bird will travel? Remember, the bird speed is 100 kilometers per hour. So in 1 hour, the bird will travel 100 kilometers. Simple. So we're breaking the question into different parts. Okay, we have simply broken the question into different parts. Okay, related speed is 80 kilometers per hour. So the trains will collide in the next 1 hour, and in that 1 hour time duration, the bird will cover overall 100 kilometers distance. Okay, now you can understand that. Okay, what has this problem got anything to do with data science and technical things, Python, machine learning? But this is aptitude based question. You are required to understand how to solve these kinds of questions. Okay, I would say that these kinds of questions are far more important than knowing a couple of lines of code and Python. Those things can be taught, but at this age, these things cannot be taught. Very difficult, of course. I mean, with dedication and experience, people can be taught anything. It's just a matter of practice and learning the things and practicing the things. But then this is the aptitude that we are trying to test you on. Okay, one more example question I would like to highlight for the audience, just to give an idea to all of you. You can give it a read. Okay, these are some sample kinds of questions that you are required to complete. Actually, I'm sure some of you who have solved puzzle-based questions have come across something very similar. You've got two beaker, 4 liter beaker, 5 liter beaker, and you're expected to pour exactly 7 liters in a bucket. So how will you complete the task? You have to give us the approach. No perfect solution is there, but you have to go and complete a specific task. That's the way you have to do it overall. All right, wonderful. Now, what we will do is, and then there are also case study based questions. I think I talked about this one. So this is a kind of a case study based question. Guesstimate questions we talked about. We talked about puzzle based questions, and we talked about case study based questions. Now, remember, case study based questions can be technical. Case study based questions can also be non-technical. Okay. So case study based questions can be technical. Case study based questions can also be non-technical. So this is an example of a case study based question we are seeing right now. Okay. This is what we are able to spot. Uh, yeah. You can see right now, what factors will you consider? So very general open-ended question, not like we're looking for one kind of an answer. You're responsible for sending out campaigns to potential customers, and your manager tells you the meeting is there in an hour, and which service provider will you choose for the next campaign? Very interesting. So first, there's a certain prediction component involved. How will you reach out to potential customers? And how will you look at the cost factor, the ROI factor, how much of investment you're making? Because the marketing campaigns cost money. So how much of money you're investing vis-a-vis how many customers you're reaching and how many of those are converting. You want to look at the historical conversion data as well, the ROI, the sales funnel you want to look at. Out of 100 customers I reached, how many converted? And based on that, I will choose the service provider. Okay, so these are some very interesting things we will look at. ROI, return cost, how many mails, what is the cost, all those kind of factors we'll actually consider. So this is the case study based kind of question that we are actually looking at. Just wanted to give you a flavor of the kind of questions that are actually are not just the standard interview rounds and telephonic calls, but uh, product companies will get into a lot of these kinds of questions. And you may not have the perfect answer, but we are looking for the approach that is most important. Okay, all right, wonderful. Now, what we will do here, friends, is we will look at we'll basically look at a Kahoot quiz right now, and the Kahoot quiz is basically a kind of a gamified way on how we try to test out the different uh, yeah. I want to quickly start out the Kahoot quiz. I'll quickly share a link with all of you. Everybody can join into the link. It will be a quick 1 minute uh, quiz that we will do. And all of you can quickly join into this particular link. Everybody can quickly join into this particular link. I will just quickly wait for all of you to join in. This will be a quick 1 minute quiz that we will do, just to test you on a few things that you have learned and studied in the class, make things a bit exciting for all of you, and try to gamify the learning a little bit. That's again something that we try to do a little differently at our try to gamify the learning experience. This is also something that is done in the classes a lot. We teach you something and we do a Kahoot quiz and to make things a bit more interesting. Okay, good to see a lot of you here. Quickly, everybody, can you all click on the link, give your name, give a proper name. There are prizes to be won. Make sure you give the proper name. So we'll reach out to you individually for prizes. We still have a few folks to join in. I'll wait for 30 seconds more. 30 seconds. Quick, guys. Everybody's in. Just final 20 seconds. Please click on this link, all of you. I'll just wait for 15 more seconds. 5 seconds. Okay, let's start on. We'll do a set of MCQ questions and you can choose the best one. All the best to all of you. Yeah. Let's see how it goes. Mind you, the thing is not Walmart sale, but it's basically improved demand forecasting. So the use case is demand forecasting. Okay, perfect. Yes. Energy efficiency is a different use case. Demand forecasting means we are looking at past historical data. Excellent. Most of you got it right. And let's go to the next one. Nikita is leading. Very good. Next one. Let's make it quick, guys, because we have a lot more to talk about today. LIDAR is basically a kind of a sensor used in self-driving cars. I know this is a little unfamiliar. LIDAR is a sensor kind of thing. So yeah. So LIDAR is actually related to AI. I know this is a bit of a technical thing we haven't quite discussed in detail, but then LIDAR is something to do with self-driving cars kind of thing. But DBMS is something not related to AI per se. DBMS is database management system, which is not an application of AI. I think people are mostly confused between these two, but DBMS is the right answer because LIDAR is related to AI, self-driving cars. Okay, yeah. All right, next one. Uh, this is the analytical question, aptitude question. Take your time. Wonderful. People were able to answer. That's good, actually. So the right answer is E. So basically, two letters are repeating. Next one, then again two. Next one, next again two. C C D E E F G G H I I J K K L, like that. So just catching the pattern. Okay, this kind of questions are also quite common. This one off question, 10 seconds we can ask you, and yeah. So most of you are able to get it right again. So Ravindra is leading right now, and okay, this is good. Last one, fourth last one actually. Yes. Mind you, supply chain management, it's about transportation. Okay. I think the picture would have been a bit of a giveaway. How you're able to manage the supply chains, how you're able to route your products efficiently across different parts of the country. So it's more about improving bottlenecks and improving routing. So supply chain management is basically, again, it's related to demand forecasting, where you're able to forecast how much of products are needed in a particular area, and you're able to channel it in a better way. Not A for sure. Customer reviews are very different. That's about text data analytics. That is completely different, not even related to supply chain. Weather patterns, definitely not. Uh, and optimizing pricing strategy, not quite, because that's pricing analytics. This is review analytics, customer review data. So definitely not one and four. Most of you have marked one and four, but it will be answer two actually. Okay, the last one. Which of the following is an application of AI? Okay, wonderful. I think most of you got it right. That's the first one. That is language understanding, natural language understanding. NLP is very much an application of AI. Very good, wonderful. So this is the podium, Tushar. We have the data with us, and we'll reach out to you, Tushar and Shomodi Pravindra. In fact, congratulations to all of you who participated and who did well. And I hope all of you also got a pretty good amount of learning based on today's session, what we did and how we overall paced it. I'm going to quickly, at this point in time, uh, get into the next phase of the conversation. That's about talking a little bit about Alma Better, what we do and how we do things differently. I will also encourage the audience to take some time and share with us your feedback on how you felt about the session. And of course, I hope all of you enjoyed the class. You got a good amount of understanding about data science and what data science is, its applications, real world use cases, and how we do things at Walmart. And of course, we come to the next phase of the conversation here, where we'll talk a little bit about Alma Better and we'll talk a little bit about the organization. And again, we'll talk a little bit about how uh, the organization does things differently. We'll take it to the curriculum and give it over to Manju. And once again, thank you so much uh, for having me here, friends. And it was a wonderful time speaking to you and sharing my thoughts with all of you. I had a wonderful time with you and hope all of you enjoyed the class. Over to you, Manju. Yeah, over to you, Sivati.
Thank you so much, Sayan, for such an informative
Yeah.
session. There were a lot of takeaways for me as well. The way you explained about the tools that are being used in real life by Walmart or any other company. But there was one more thing that all the learners out here need to understand about the approach that you told, the logical based thinking, the puzzles that you can't just learn in one particular day. There are skills which one can learn in particular months or something like that, but it's the logical reasoning kind of a thing, and the approach, the way you should go for all these tools and skills is something that needs to be taken away from this particular session. So I will hardly take another 10-15 minutes. I will just tell you about what Alma Better is and how is it helping you getting yourself into these data domain thing. I saw a lot of learners asking about, if I'm a fresher, what needs to be done, if I'm already a graduate, what needs to be done, and what kind of post-graduation degree I need to have if I want to get myself into data domain. So I will be just having a quick discussion over that as well. I'm just sharing my screen. So there's one thing that I need to be, I want to clarify to all of you is that if you're a fresher, obviously you will have a lot of opportunity in this particular field, as already been told by Sayan. If you are already a graduate, I would strongly recommend that instead of going for any post-graduation kind of a thing, you guys can do one thing. You can upskill yourself and get yourself into this data science domain, as there are like multiple opportunities already being stated by Sayan in this entire masterclass. So what we do here at Alma Better, look, Alma Better is a platform where we believe in peer networking, where we believe that things can be achieved when it is being learned in groups, because different people have different ideas, they have the different way of solving a particular problem statement. So what we do is that we try to encourage each and every one of you to use all your ideas, also try to understand and learn the idea of a different person, different learner, how he's trying to solve that particular problem statement. So that is what we do here at Alma Better. We ensure that you guys are studying in groups, you guys are doing your projects in team, and you guys are learning a lot, not only from the instructors and the learners out here, but also from your very own group of students, right? Because Alma Better is a platform where we believe that if you are trained well, if you're guided well, if you're mentored well, you will somehow get into this data domain wala job segment. That is why we say this as a placement guarantee program, because we first of all train you, and then we ensure that you're getting yourself placed in one of the topmost IT companies that are present here in our country, that is India. The question arises, that there are like multiple things a learner can do, even if he's a fresher or maybe if he's a graduate. So why I should choose Alma Better? The reason is very simple. Most of you might not be from the IT background. Even if you are from the IT background, there are a lot of things that are pretty much relevant in the curriculum, and there are a lot of things that are not pretty relevant in that curriculum as well. It's important that you should have a curriculum that is pretty much industry oriented. There are a lot of things that you will learn that is not in demand of the industry, but you keep on learning because someone told you that you need to do this. But here at Alma Better, we ensure that you're learning everything from scratch, and we are covering the relevant curriculum out here. You will have your live classes, just like Sayan did a master class today. We have like live classes 3 days in a week, right? You will have your master classes, you will have your career workshops as well. So that, just like Sayan, he is currently working with one of the IT companies. So he will bring out the real time uses of all the tools and the languages that you will be learning in this particular program. Other than the live classes, you will also get the recorded lectures of the particular live class. That will also help you a lot in revising all the concepts that you have learned in the live classes. Again, if you have gone through the live classes, if you have done the recorded lectures, if you've done the revision process well, it's important that you should know the real uses of those skills, the tools that you have used. And that is why we have like 20 plus capstone projects. So you will be getting a real-time experience of working on a lot of data sets and how you will solve those problems. Again, it's an important factor if you're going for the capstone projects. Again, I believe coding and mathematics are pretty much like the same. Any subject, it is pretty much requires a lot of practice, and that is why we have like 1,000+ coding problems as well as assessments that you would be doing on. All right. You will have your weekly doubt resolution sessions. You will have your one-on-one mentorship sessions as well, where you can, have a good discussion with the mentors who are already working in this particular domain to clarify the doubts if you have any, and also to get a lot of guidance through them. You will have your 50+ mock interviews. So it's not only about studying a lot of things, it's also about understanding what to speak when you're sitting in an interview. And for that, you need to give a lot of mock interviews, and that is what we do here at Alma Better. We give you a lot of opportunities sitting in the mock interview, so that when you're sitting in a real interview, you have a good idea what to say, how to say, what to speak, when to speak. And you will be having a dedicated career coach who himself will be working in one of the IT organizations. You will again get to know about the kind of questions that are being asked in the interviews. And again, as we say in this particular program, that it's a 100% job guarantee program. And the reason is the relevant curriculum that we have, the instructors and the mentors that we have, and again, the 500 hiring partners that we have here at Alma Better that will help you, giving a lot of opportunities, sitting in the interviews and getting yourself that data job for which you are doing all these kind of studies. What is the way to enroll yourself in these courses? So you have to go to a website, that is Alma Better. You have to sign up there. You have to pay a registration fees. And once you pay the registration fee, your learning journey will get started. In that learning journey, you will be getting your live lectures, recorded lectures, projects, assignments, and a lot of assessments that you will be doing. And once you complete that entire learning journey, that is of 6 months, you get a certification from our end that yes, you have done all these tools and skills from our end. Post that, you sign an income sharing agreement where it is mentioned that if you end up getting a job of more than 5 lakhs per annum, you pay us a certain amount, that too, in a span of 2 years. But if you end up not getting any job, you don't have to pay us anything. And at that point of time, even your registration fees is refunded back to you. Once you sign that income sharing agreement part, we start working on your placement segment, that is your mock interviews, your resume building. And also, obviously, a dedicated career coach keeps on guiding you through how you can crack the interviews. And once you start getting yourself into real interviews, you will have a lot of opportunities and you will end up getting the dream job for which you have actually started this particular course. And that is how this entire module of Alma Better works here. So, what kind of learning activities you can have, already being told you, we will have like live lectures, you will have your lab experiments, you will have your projects and assignments, you will have group discussions. I told you in the very first line that it's not only about learning something, but it's also about understanding what others have learned from the particular topic, because different people have different perspective towards a particular topic or a particular problem statement. So by group discussions, you will learn that as well. You will have your one-on-one motivation, mentorship sessions that is required for motivation, for guidance, which is pretty much important. You will have a lot of guest lectures because I believe that the more you have an exposure of things that are going in this data domain, the more you will become confident when you will be sitting in the interview. That is why we have a lot of guest lectures. You will have a lot of community participation. I will be telling you about that as well. Capstone project, as already being told to you, is there. And then we will have like competency challenges as well. Competency challenges are like tests, assignments, projects that is being happening here at Alma Better. One big thing that after studying from us, you don't need to take your skill sets and search in the market for jobs. We ourselves have like 500 plus hiring companies with us, and we ensure that you're getting multiple opportunities, right, to get yourself placed in these companies. Some of the most important companies, or you can say top tech companies, Amazon, Disney Plus, Hotstar, Cred, Razorpay, Uber, Swiggy, Oracle, HSBC, they are all with us only. So if you're working hard in these 6 months of training that we provide, there is a high possibility that you end up getting yourself a job in these top tech companies. And students have cracked these companies. It's not something that I'm just saying you. People have got into these companies, and they are really big companies. Flipkart, Disney Plus, Hotstar, Amazon, Citibank, Pasabazaar, Razorpay, they all are like huge companies. And the best part is that the companies that we have, they're from different domain. Like Amazon is from e-commerce, then JP Morgan Chase is from banking, Flipkart again e-commerce, Flutera is there, then we have like Capgemini and Cognizant who are from the IT services. So you will have companies from different segment as well. So if you're currently working in a particular segment and you want to get yourself switched into that very own segment, we will help you in doing that as well. Again, a very important statistics this is for the freshers here, who graduate from Alma Better. Most of the freshers, they do get in a job that is ranging in between 5 to 7 lakhs per annum. But there are like 29% of the freshers who end up getting a job of 7 to 8 lakhs per annum. One thing that you need to note is that, as already being stated in the masterclass by Sayan, that the amount of data scientists to the machine learning engineers that are required in the market is not that much enough, right? So companies are ready to pay you good handsome amount, right? If you see this particular graph, you will realize that 37% of the students, they end up getting 8 to 9 lakhs per annum. That is, again, it's huge, right? Then there are like 12% students who even get into that 9 to 10 lakhs per annum package as well. One thing that always motivates every learner is that despite all these salary ratios, we have like 10 lakhs per annum wala people as well. 3% of the population, end up getting 10 lakhs per annum, package. So if you're working hard, I'm telling you as a fresher, if you fall into this category of 3%, which are having a CTC of 10 lakhs per annum or above that, obviously it's a huge thing for any of the freshers. These are our instructors and mentors, people from Microsoft, Swiggy, Dream11, IBM. Cyan was also here. He's also working on one of the companies named Walmart. So, people, all the instructors that we have here, the mentors that we have here, they're already working professionals, and they are working in a particular segment that is related to data, and that will help you a lot. These are some of the success stories. These are some of the people who got themselves transitioned. Some of them, are from IT background. Some of them are from non-IT background. But the best part is that they all got placed. They all got that transition for which they, basically enrolled with us. And that is something that always motivates us to do well for the learners out here. I will be just giving you guys a quick dashboard of the quick walkthrough of this dashboard as well. That how this entire Alma Beta dashboard, looks like. And it somehow looks like this. When you enroll with us, when you pay the registration fees, this is how the homepage of the enrolled students look like. So if you click on this continue learning all apart, you will get to know about all the topics that are being covered here, right? So we will start with Python, then we get into data structure algorithm, then we get into database management, that we get into MS Excel, SQL, Power BI. Then we get into the maths part a bit. As already being told, there are a lot of puzzles and even the logical reasoning, all a thing that needs to be learned if you are working in this particular domain. Then you will have machine learning, again an important part. Then you will have your supervised models, unsupervised models. You will have certain specialization courses as well, that is product analytics. Then you will have distributed machine learning. Then you will have deep learning as well, and you can learn any of these three if you want to. A lot of coding problems, that you can solve, a lot of coding assessments that you can practice. It keeps on unlocking with every passing lecture that you will complete. Then you will have a lot of assessments as well. If you see, there are like data science mock test 1, then there is mock test 2, mock test 3. So you will go through a lot of mock tests basically, just to give yourself a feedback that what I need to learn and where I can improve. We have like 31 projects, out of which 4 to 5 projects are pretty much compulsory that you need to do, right? And these projects are from the real-time data sets projects, where we have like Airbnb is there, then we have World Bank project, then we have Google Pay ka project, then we have Netflix ka project, we have Zomato's project. So there are like multiple projects that one can do here, right? Credit card default prediction, and these are multiple projects that will help you understand about how all the skills that you have learned could be utilized for the real-time problem statement. This is how the career track looks like. This is where you will be evaluated for every model, for every module that you're learning. This is where you can just check how much percentage of marks that you have scored in all these modules. And then obviously you will go for all the mock interviews and the resume preparation wala thing as well. This is where you will get all the schedule of your classes, right? It's like we will be having a class that will be starting in 6 hours. Today, there is a class that is on web scraping using Python. It is one of the previous cohorts that I am showing you, previous batches that I am showing you. You will get an option of join class. Once you click on this join class, you get into the live class wala section. And here only you will get even the recorded parts as well. If you just check here, you will end up getting the class recordings as well. You can just click on any of the class recordings and you can start watching the lectures if you want to revise them, or even if you have missed that particular live class, you can just go through these recordings and end up understanding and learning a lot of things that you might have missed in the live classes. Mentorship sessions, obviously, if you have queries in any of the topics, you can book a mentorship session with us. Even if you have any of the queries regarding the placement guidance, learning guidance, capstone project guidance, you will even end up getting yourself mentored right from our end. From here on, you can just track your performance. If you're learning about Python, you can just understand about what is your progress and what is your cohorts progress. You can also understand about what is your progress when it comes to capstone projects, competency challenges, or even lesson daily quiz, right? And you can compare it with all the cohort students who are currently studying with you, and what is your average score will also be reflected. So you can have your own a tracker of how you're performing, and you can even work on the topics on which you're not performing well. This is a community platform. You can just get yourself into this community where you will find all the alumni of Alma Better, and other than that, you will also end up finding people who are in your very own batch. Obviously, you will end up finding your instructors and mentors here as well. So this is like a mini LinkedIn here of Alma Better. You will end up learning, interacting with a lot of people, and obviously increasing your peer connection here at the community platform. So, this is how your account looks like. You can just even add your WhatsApp number here, so that you can keep on getting the notifications for the classes and everything that is happening, and rest you can just fill all these details out here. If you have any, queries in during the courses, if you want to take a direct help, you can, report a problem here. You can directly submit your problem, and it will be getting sorted out from our team's end. And if you want, even you can have a live support. Let us assume that you're facing any technical issues, your class is not running, or you're not finding your recorded classes, you can just directly go to live support, and all your problems will be rectified there only. You can also raise a few tickets. I'm just telling you that, let us assume that you're going through a recorded lecture, and one of the question popped up in your head. You're getting certain queries there. You can just go to the ticket section, and you can just release your ticket. Ticket means you are raising a question, you're asking a doubt. You can post about any of the topics that you're learning. You just have to select the topic. Maybe let us assume that that is machine learning. And then you can just click here, machine learning and data science engineering, data engineering wala part. Type your question. You can even attach your problem, submit it. The team will get back to you with the proper explanation of that particular problem statement. So this is how you can utilize these resources. So since you guys have been here, at this particular masterclass for almost like more than a couple of hours. So for this masterclass, we're giving like 15% discount on the registration fees that we have. I'm writing down this particular coupon code in the chat section as well. If you're using this prompt 15, you end up getting yourself a discount of 15%. You can enroll yourself by paying that particular amount. All right. So now getting back to the questions, if we have any. Okay. Tanya, what kind of refund you're asking about? I just want to understand that. Shodarshini, the basic I would say skills that you need to understand is about Power BI, Tableau, SQL, MS Excel, Python, few of the topics of machine learning. So these are the things that you need to learn if you want to get yourself updated in terms of skills. I'm just pinging down the coupon code for this particular masterclass, from where you will end up getting 15% of the discount, and it is prompt 15. So you can use this coupon code directly over the website and get yourself enrolled in one of the courses that we offer here at Alma Better. It can be the data science, or it can be web development as well. Yes, Bhagishri, I've already mentioned it here in prompt 15, the coupon code that we have here. So Darshini, I have answered that question for you. Tanya, you just need to elaborate the kind of refund that you're asking about, so that I can give you more insight about that. There is a feedback form as well, team. So you just need to fill that feedback form so that we can get a feedback about this particular masterclass, what else we can improve here to give you more information about this particular data domain. And it also help us getting more masterclasses on more new topics. It's there. The link is there in the comment section, so you can even click on that link and give your very valuable feedback. Any questions regarding the courses that we have here? it's a 6 months training program that we provide, and post that we start working on your placements, and we ensure that you're getting yourself 100% placed in one of the companies that we are tied up with. Somideep, the actual registration fees out there is 29,999, on which you can get 15% discount. So you can just apply this particular coupon and you can get the amount from there only, from the website. It will drop down to 25,499. All right, I believe we are done with the questions. If anyone has any question regarding any of the models, maybe any of the modules that we have, the way we train the students, you can directly get in touch with our counselors via website as well, right? No, Soumyadeep, you have to ensure that you're completing all your capstone projects, you're completing all your competency challenges, and then only you get yourself into Almax. Cool, cool. I believe that the feedback form has been filled. If you have any queries regarding any of the thing, you can get in touch with our team. From website only, you can request a call back, and our team will give you more clarity about the products that we are offering. A coupon code has already been mentioned here. I'm just pasting it again here so that you can utilize this. And since there are no more queries regarding the particular yes, there is a pay after placement option, Varun. You have to pay a registration fees, and then once you get yourself placed, then only you have to pay us our fees. That is the pay after placement fees that we have. No worries, no worries, Mohammed. As already been told to you, that you need not to be pretty much understanding a lot of prerequisites. Everything would be taught to you from scratch only. No, it is only for the registration fees, Aniket. You can directly go to the website and get yourself enrolled. It's for the registration fees. It's not for the ISA part. Varun, I have answered that question for you. All right, channel. So that was that from our end, and we will keep on. You can find it, Mohammed, on the website only. There are like demo classes as well. You can just go to the website part, go to the learning tab that is there, and you will find a demo class. All right. So that was that from our end, as I was stating. And we will keep on bringing these master classes that will give you a lot of insights about how things are operating in this data domain. And thank you so much for all of you for turning up and giving us your valuable time and the feedback as well. Coupon code has already been mentioned. If you have any queries, you can get in touch with our team as well. And till then, take care, all of you, and have a very happy weekend. Thank you so much, Sayan. Thank you, Team Alma Better, for being here. Thank you so much for joining this particular session. Thank you all, and take care, all of you. Bye-bye.